Chapter 1556. Do you think I'll believe you? Bullshit. Longao didn't take Tian Chen's words to heart at all. Instead of getting angry, he laughed. Longao, I've already guessed your background. Let me give you a piece of advice. A wise man submits to circumstances. Don't sacrifice yourself in vain. Bullshit. If you have the ability, then do it. I'd like to see how many lives you have. Longao was so calm that Tian Chen was a little stunned. Did Longao have something to rely on? That was unlikely. Tian Chen believed in his guess. If Longao's starry sky divine soul was really so powerful, then Longao wouldn't be like this. All of a sudden, Tian Chen smiled, looked around, and said, "When I was killed by the heavenly Tao, I used the last of my strength to set up the astral purgatory. With the seal of the divine mathematician, even the heavenly Tao can't break the seal and enter the astral purgatory." The heavenly Tao. Hearing Tian Chen's words, the two finally understood that Tian Chen was killed by the heavenly Tao. It was really strange. But thinking about it, the heavenly Tao not only killed Tian Chen, but also many starry sky cultivators in order to eliminate all dangers. After all, the heavenly Tao was an 8th level starry sky cultivator. Unless the divine mathematician personally took action, no one was a match for the heavenly Tao. The heavenly Tao was an 8th level starry sky cultivator. In the Tianwu continent, no one was a match for it except the divine mathematician. Hearing this, Tian Chen was even more surprised. He nodded in agreement. You're right. It seems that your identity is not simple. It's hard to imagine that you even know the strength of the heavenly Tao. Longao shrugged and didn't say anything. I was seriously injured by the heavenly Tao and couldn't be reborn. I also don't want to enter the cycle of reincarnation. I can only pass on my strength to future generations, hoping that one day, someone can avenge me. Dream on. Wishful thinking. Although Longao didn't know much about starry sky cultivators, he could be sure that the 8th level starry sky realm of the heavenly Tao wasn't something that could be easily reached. To kill the heavenly Tao, one had to cultivate to the 9th level starry sky realm. Was there anyone in the martial heaven continent capable of such a feat? The astral purgatory has been opened 4 times, but no one has been able to catch my eye. This is the last time. If I still can't find an inheritor, I'm prepared to enter the cycle of reincarnation. Whether I can be reborn or not will depend on the will of the heavens. Longao remained silent. The last time, I didn't expect to meet you and the mutated 9 Serenity Earthworm Tiger. Longao, as long as I devour you, occupy your body, and devour the 9 Serenity Earthworm Tiger's divine soul, I believe I can be reborn immediately without any danger. So that was the case. You changed your mind? That's right. Tian Chen smiled and said, I've already said that as long as you hand over the starry sky divine soul in your body, I'll let you go and help you break through to the ultimate God realm. How about that? Temptation. It was a blatant temptation. If it were anyone else, they would have already agreed. After all, Tian Chen's strength was obvious, and this was Tian Chen's territory. If he refused, only death awaited him. If he agreed, not only could he leave this place alive, but he could also break through to the ultimate God realm and reach the divine emperor realm. Madman Yi, who was standing aside, did not speak. Although he really hoped that Longao would agree, as a friend, he would support Longao unconditionally no matter what decision he made. Longao, with your current strength, you'll definitely be devoured by the starry sky divine soul in the future. Rather than that, why don't you do me a favor and you can also break through to the next realm? It's the best of both worlds. Sure. Tian Chen's face suddenly lit up when he saw the other party agree. Before Tian Chen could speak, Longao suddenly said, Wait. Tian Chen, do you really believe that I have the starry sky divine soul in my body? What if I'm lying to you? I believe you. Well, my condition is very simple. As long as you agree to one of my conditions, I'll give you the starry sky divine soul in my body. Say it. In Tian Chen's view, no matter what condition it was nothing compared to the starry sky divine soul. Because once he devoured the starry sky divine soul, not only could he be reborn, but he could also continue to break through to the 2nd level of starry sky cultivator. No matter what price he had to pay, he must obtain the Starry Sky Divine Soul. Tian Chen was not sure what realm the Starry Sky Divine Soul in the other party's body was. A second-level Starry Sky Divine Soul was already very good. If it was a third-level Starry Sky Divine Soul, or even a fifth-level Starry Sky Divine Soul, then he would be overjoyed when he thought about devouring it. My condition is very simple. As long as you give me your inheritance, I'll agree to give you the Starry Sky Divine Soul. How about it? Furious. Tian Chen's face instantly turned gloomy. He sneered and said, Longao, you're playing with me. Why do you say so? If I give you my inheritance, I'll turn into ashes. At that time, what's the use of your Starry Sky Divine Soul? Tian Chen's heart was furious to the extreme because he already knew that the other party was obviously playing with him. As a Starry Sky cultivator, when had he ever been played like this? Moreover, the person who was playing with him was just a small hierarch realm cultivator. It was like trying to pull a tooth out of a tiger's mouth. Madman Yi was also shocked because he never thought that Longao would do this. Anyone could see that Longao did not admit it at all. Obviously, he was playing with Tian Chen. What was Longao doing? Playing with fire. Madman Yi did not speak because he knew very well that Longao would not do this casually unless he wanted to commit suicide. He knew Longao very well. Could it be that Longao was retreating in order to advance? Tian Chen, you really didn't admit it. In that case, I'll change my condition. If you still don't agree, then let's forget about this matter. Even if I have to self-destruct with the Starry Sky Divine Soul, I will never let you off so easily. Speak. Tian Chen gritted his teeth with hatred, but in the end, he endured it. For the sake of the Starry Sky Divine Soul, for himself to break through to a higher realm, he had to endure it. Tian Chen, I'd like to ask if a Starry Sky cultivator can practice Starry Sky martial skills? Xiling and Long Fu told him about Starry Sky martial skills. However, according to Xiling and Long Fu, the Starry Sky martial skills they practiced were too powerful. If they forced themselves to practice it, they would only end up dead. However, Longao still wanted to ask and see how powerful Tian Chen's Starry Sky martial skills were. Even if he could not use them now, he could save them for the future. My Starry Sky martial skills are not suitable for you unless you accept my inheritance. Longao, I can take a step back. As long as you are willing to hand over the Starry Sky Divine Soul, after I break through, I will do my best to help you break through to the Starry Sky realm. We can also make a blood oath. How about it? Chapter 1557. Okay, I promise you. He didn't continue the conversation. Longao could clearly sense that Tian Chen's anger had reached its peak. He was like a volcano that was about to erupt and could erupt at any time. As for the Starry Sky martial arts, Longao was still a little unwilling to give up. According to Xiling and Long Fu, the Starry Sky martial arts was a powerful martial arts that Starry Sky cultivators practiced. It was extremely powerful and powerful. However, the Starry Sky martial arts had a shortcoming, that was, if one's cultivation hadn't reached the Starry Sky level, he would definitely be counterattacked by the Starry Sky martial arts and the consequences would be unimaginable. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to learn all the Starry Sky martial arts that Xiling and Long Fu taught him. However, the only thing that made Longao extremely happy was that the reincarnation sword technique he practiced was a Starry Sky martial arts. The reincarnation sword technique was different from other Starry Sky martial arts because the reincarnation sword technique could be upgraded continuously, as the cultivator's strength increased continuously. In other words, even with Longao's current strength, if he forced himself to practice the reincarnation sword technique, he wouldn't be counterattacked. Even Xiling and Long Fu were shocked after learning about the reincarnation sword technique. Because there seemed to be very few Starry Sky martial arts like this. Because of this, Longao became more and more curious about the mysterious young man in the Wordless Heaven book. The mysterious young man's strength seemed to be extraordinary. In addition to the reincarnation sword technique, there was also the reincarnation sword. According to Xiling and Long Fu's observation, since the reincarnation disc could transform into the reincarnation sword and had such power, The reincarnation sword should be a starry sky divine weapon if there was no accident. Longao finally knew why the reincarnation sword technique and the reincarnation sword could ignore the forbidden power and the lock of the domain of heaven and earth. While he was unwilling to give up, Longao was also pleasantly surprised. He didn't continue to think about the starry sky martial arts. At this time, the most important thing was to deal with Tian Chen in front of him and not give him any chance to find any flaws. Tian Chen, remember your promise. As soon as he finished, a purple light suddenly shot out of Longao's body. It was none other than Xiling. This was something that Xiling and Longao had discussed beforehand. Genling. Sensing the starry sky aura erupting from the purple figure in front of him, Tian Chen was pleasantly surprised to the extreme. Tian Chen had never expected that the starry sky divine soul in Longao's body was actually a starry sky Genling. Furthermore, when he sensed this starry sky aura, he could tell that this starry sky Genling's cultivation was at least at the level 3 starry sky realm. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. All of a sudden, Tian Chen threw his head back and laughed maniacally. His laughter was filled with surprise and anticipation. Longao looked on with a smile, but he was sneering in his heart. Madman Yi, who was standing to the side, was also shocked to the extreme when he saw the Genling shoot out from Longao's body. Brother Longao waved his hand and said nothing. Since things had already come to this, even if Madman Yi wanted to say something, he still forcefully swallowed it back down. Phew! Tian Chen seemed to be impatient as he dashed towards Xiling. In the blink of an eye, Tian Chen was already close to Xiling, entering the space barrier that Xiling and Long Fu had set up beforehand. Ha ha ha. Longao, don't worry. As long as you're willing to submit to me, I'll reward you with a starry sky realm cultivation. You'll be my obedient dog from now on. Ha ha ha. He was still laughing maniacally. His laughter did not stop. But just at this moment, just as Tian Chen was still laughing maniacally, a gigantic space barrier suddenly appeared around them. Longao laughed. Tian Chen, I'd like to see how you're going to leave this place today. Longao, how dare you trick me? So what if I did? Tian Chen was a little too arrogant. He had never thought that a puny reverend god would dare to play tricks with him. Indeed, carelessness killed the cat. Arrogance killed the cat. Tian Chen, of course, knew how terrifying the space barrier around him was. He would not just sit there and wait for his death. Tian Chen began to attack the space barrier madly. Bam! 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 The space barrier around Tian Chen could not be broken no matter how hard he tried. Even though Xiling and Long Fu had yet to recover from their injuries, their powers were definitely above Tian Chen's. If they did not enter the space barrier, they might not be able to do anything. But now, Tian Chen's fate was sealed. I can't accept this. I can't accept this. Tian Chen roared madly. However, Xiling and Long Fu would not show him any mercy. They began to suppress Tian Chen forcefully. In just a few minutes, the lively Tian Chen was sucked into the dragon seal space by Long Fu and Xiling. Seeing this, Longao was overjoyed. He knew that the matter was settled. Brother Long, where's Tian Chen? He was a little dumbfounded. Until now, Madman Yi still could not believe that everything that had just happened was real. If that was the case, didn't that mean that the purple figure that shot out from Longao's body was indeed a starry sky cultivator? And his powers were way above Tian Chen's? Unbelievable. Because of this, Madman Yi finally understood why Longao dared to provoke 3 superforces at the same time. It turned out that he relied on the help of the starry sky divine soul in his body. How could Longao not know what Madman Yi was thinking? He said, Brother Yi, I hope that you can keep this a secret for me. Madman Yi, of course, knew the seriousness of the matter. He nodded and said, Brother Long, don't worry. If I tell anyone about this, I will be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. Then, Madman Yi swore a blood oath. In fact, even if Madman Yi did not swear, Longao would choose to believe him. Since he had chosen to treat Madman Yi as a friend, he would not have any doubts. The matter is settled. Brother Yi, let's leave. Although he could not obtain the inheritance of the peak of martial arts, At least he had subdued a Nirvana divine beast, and it was a heaven-devouring python. But now, nothing. Brother Yi, if you are willing, I can help you subdue the 2 Nirvana divine beasts outside. Madman Yi smiled. Of course, he knew what Longao meant. He said with a smile, Brother Long, there are more than 20 Nirvana divine beasts on my island, but there are none in the Dragon Valley. If it is possible, you can subdue the 2 Nirvana divine beasts outside and guard the Dragon Valley. This may not be a bad thing for you. In that case, let's do it. Longao also wanted to subdue the 2 Nirvana divine beasts, but he was very dignified. With his strength alone, subduing the 2 Nirvana divine beasts was easier said than done. The 2 Nirvana divine beasts were equivalent to 2 Nirvana divine beasts in the oneness of heaven and man realm. However, Xiling had a way. According to Xiling, this was the purgatory of stars. They had even subdued Tian Chen, so subduing the 2 Nirvana divine beasts with the help of Tian Chen's strength was more than enough. Chapter 1558. Rumble. Boom, boom, boom. Just as Longao was about to leave the main hall and make use of Xiling's powers to deal with the 2 Nirvana heavenly beasts, the entire island began to tremble. Strictly speaking, the entire star purgatory was trembling violently. Xiling, what should we do now? With just Xiling and Long Fu's powers, there was no way they could deal with the 2 Nirvana heavenly beasts. Xiling had made use of Tian Chen's powers to tame the 2 Nirvana heavenly beasts as well. How could he be willing to give up just like that? The 2 level 2 Nirvana heavenly beasts were like charcoal in a snowstorm for the Dragon Valley right now. With Nirvana heavenly beasts holding the fort, even if they couldn't become a superforce, they could definitely become a top-tier existence amongst the Grade 2 forces. The 2 level 2 Nirvana heavenly beasts were of utmost importance. Longao, we can deal with the 2 level 2 Nirvana heavenly beasts. As for the other things in the star purgatory, including the heavenly beasts, I'm afraid we won't make it in time. We're in trouble. As for the other things, including the blood spider and the blood mantis, Longao had no interest in them at all. The only thing he was interested in was the 2 level 2 Nirvana heavenly beasts. Bringing Lunatic Yi with him, Longao disappeared from where he was. Naturally, Xiling and Long Fu knew of the usefulness of the 2 level 2 Nirvana heavenly beasts to the Dragon Valley. In fact, the both of them were taking a huge risk in doing so. If they were careless, their injuries might worsen. The moment the star purgatory was destroyed, the tear in the void might even devour the both of them. Regarding this point, Longao had no idea at all. If Longao knew about this, who knew if he would agree to the both of them doing so? But thankfully, the both of them managed to tame the 2 level 2 Nirvana heavenly beasts and forcefully brought them into the Dragon Seal space. Immediately after, the entire star purgatory exploded, causing the entire outer seas to tremble. Many powerful beings of the 4 islands left one after another. In their shock, they could guess what had happened. Everyone had fallen within the star purgatory. This was a huge blow to the 4 islands. Outer seas, at a certain place. Brother Long, are you really leaving? During the trip to the purgatory of stars, the 2 of them who were originally mortal enemies had become friends in a dramatic manner. Yes, Tian Chen's legacy can only last for a month. I have to hurry back. Brother Yi, if you need anything in the future, just send me a message. All right. Without further hesitation, Longao turned around and left quickly. Outer Sea. In the Crystal Palace. Master God Diviner, who had been resting with his eyes closed, suddenly opened them. He seemed a bit surprised, but at the same time, delighted. Good job, Longao. You didn't disappoint me. Long Batian had already left, so there was no way that he could send a message to Longao. In other words, the person who had delivered the news was not Long Batian but Master Clairvoyant. Devouring Tian Chen's inheritance. I believe Longao's cultivation should be able to break through to the starry sky realm within 3 years. Ha ha ha. Master Clairvoyant's intention was very simple. In addition to testing Longao, he wanted Longao to devour Tian Chen's inheritance so that he could break through to the starry sky realm in the shortest time possible. But would Longao devour Tian Chen's inheritance? If Master Clairvoyant knew that Longao had no intention of devouring Tian Chen's inheritance, he wondered what Tian Chen would think. Master Clairvoyant was unparalleled in the art of divination, but there were some things that even Master Clairvoyant could not predict. Leaving the outer sea, Longao was not in a hurry because he only needed to return to the Dragon Valley within a month. Inside the Dragon Seal space. Xiling, apart from the reincarnation sword technique, can't I practice other Starry Sky martial arts? Longao was still unwilling to give up. His cultivation had reached the peak of the ultimate god realm. Once he practiced Starry Sky martial arts, it would be easy for him to kill an emperor god. You can't. Xiling glared at him fiercely and said, although I don't know where your reincarnation sword technique came from, I can tell you that the reincarnation sword technique and the 9 revolving reincarnation sword that you practice are the best among all the Starry Sky martial arts and cultivation techniques. Longao did not tell Xiling about the mysterious young man. If you practice Starry Sky martial arts now, you'll only be courting death. Instead of that, you might as well practice the reincarnation sword technique. When your cultivation has officially broken through to the Starry Sky realm, I'll teach you Starry Sky martial arts. Longao looked at Long Fu beside him. Before Longao could speak, Long Fu said, Master, please forgive me for not being able to help you. Regardless of whether it was Xiling or Long Fu, they both chose to reject without hesitation. If that was the case, even Longao could not do anything. Only the two of them knew Starry Sky martial arts. Even if he forced them, it would be useless as long as they did not agree to teach him. However, Longao was not unhappy at all. As Xiling had said, the reincarnation sword technique was so powerful that even an emperor god would not be able to resist it when combined with the reincarnation sword. As for whether it could contend against a Nirvana realm warrior, it was unknown. Although he did not know, Longao was sure of one thing. Once he used the reincarnation sword and the reincarnation sword technique, even a Nirvana realm warrior would not be able to lock him down with the forbidden power and the domain of heaven and earth. In this way, even if he could not defeat a Nirvana realm warrior, at least a Nirvana realm warrior would not be able to stop him. Long Fu, how long will it take to extract Tian Chen's inheritance? In addition to the Starry Sky martial arts, Longao was most concerned about this matter. The Starry Sky inheritance was something that warriors dreamed of obtaining. Longao was almost certain that no matter who it was, as long as they devoured the Starry Sky inheritance, they would definitely break through to the Starry Sky realm in the future. It was just a matter of time. In other words, if someone with good talent devoured the Starry Sky inheritance, it would take them a few years to reach the Starry Sky realm. If someone with bad talent or an ordinary person devoured the Starry Sky inheritance, it would take them more than a decade, or even 100 years. Longao had already decided that when he returned to the Dragon Valley this time, he would find someone with good talent to inherit the Starry Sky inheritance. The faster the inheritance, the more help it would be to the Dragon Valley. As the crisis grew, the Dragon Valley could not wait any longer. Master, I will refine Tian Chen's inheritance as soon as possible. After I process it, I believe that after someone devours it, their refining speed will increase by several times. Those with good talent will be able to officially use the Starry Sky inheritance to break through to the Starry Sky realm in 3 years. Long Fu, can it be done without origin energy? All the origin energy of the Tianwu continent had been sealed by the heavenly Tao. At this time, it would not be easy to find it. If he delayed his breakthrough because of this, he would regret it. Chapter 1559. Yes. He was overjoyed. Master, the Starry Sky inheritance contains the power of origin. When you devour the Starry Sky inheritance, the power of origin will automatically enter your body. I see. If that's the case, then there's no problem. Xiling, I want to ask you a question. Xiling's face was cold, but Longao was used to it. As for Long Fu, he didn't waste any time. He walked to the side and continued to refine Tian Chen's Starry Sky inheritance. Xiling, if I devour the Starry Sky inheritance and break through to the Starry Sky realm, will it be difficult to continue to break through? This was what Longao was most concerned about. It's 100 times more difficult than producing the power of origin to break through to the starry sky realm. 100 times. A warrior's cultivation was against the natural order. To break through to the next level was as difficult as ascending to the sky. If it was 100 times more difficult than a normal breakthrough, it was hard to imagine how difficult it was to break through to the second level from the first level of the starry sky realm. Longao, I know what you want to ask. Xiling pulled out a table and 2 chairs out of nowhere. There were also drinks on the table. The two sat down face to face. For example, if you devour the starry sky inheritance and break through to the starry sky realm, there's only one way to break through to a higher level quickly. What way? He told Longao directly that Xiling's method was definitely not simple. Or else, everyone would choose to devour the starry sky inheritance instead of producing the power of origin by themselves. Continue to devour. What do you mean by continue to devour? Longao seemed to have thought of something. His face was full of shock. Nodding, Xiling said with a smile, "It seems that you've already guessed it. Just as you guessed, for example, if you want to continue to break through to the first level of the starry sky realm, and quickly, you have to devour a higher level starry sky inheritance. This method was completely suicidal. If you were lucky, you could get the starry sky inheritance. If you were unlucky, you might not get a higher level starry sky inheritance in your life. Killing a high level starry sky cultivator, no one would do such a thing unless they were out of their minds. The way of heaven is the power of origin produced by oneself. Otherwise, it's as hard as climbing to the sky to reach the 8th level. So that was the case. If possible, Longao certainly did not want any of his family members to devour the starry sky inheritance. However, Longao knew better than anyone else that it was impossible for his family to break through to the star state with their talents. It was impossible. In that case, since he knew it was impossible, he might as well devour the starry sky inheritance as soon as possible. Longao had made up his mind. No matter who devoured the starry sky inheritance, he would not hesitate to help the other party continue to devour and advance to a higher level of the starry sky realm. Master, you've successfully broken through the peak ultimate god realm. You're only one step away from the emperor god realm. He nodded. Longao didn't know why Long Fu suddenly mentioned this question. Could it be that Long Fu had a way to help him break through? With the sacred desolation body, there should have been no bottlenecks when breaking through realms. However, as his realm continued to increase, Longao discovered a problem. The higher his realm, the more power he needed to break through. Too much power was needed to break through from the ultimate god realm to the emperor god realm. Otherwise, it wouldn't take him so long to break through. Long Fu, if you have something to say, just say it. I'm currently refining the starry sky inheritance. I'll think of a way to force the excess energy from the refinement into your body. When the time comes, with Miss Violet Spirit's help, it shouldn't be a problem for you to break through to the God Emperor realm. Damn. He was pleasantly surprised. Longao certainly wouldn't object. After all, after breaking through to the Emperor God realm, he was only one step away from the Nirvana realm. The last step, just one step. In the following time, Longao hurried along and cultivated. After about 10 days, Long Fu successfully refined the starry sky inheritance. The speed of devouring was more than 3 times faster. Not only that, Long Fu processed the remaining power into something Longao could devour. With the help of Xiling, he began to advance to the Emperor God realm. The level 3 divine territory in his body began to slowly transform into a level 4 divine territory. If it wasn't for Long Fu and Xiling's help, Longao would need a long time to break through from the ultimate god realm to the Emperor God realm. Even with the sacred desolation physique, it wouldn't be an easy task. Not to mention, the sacred desolation physique had its advantages and disadvantages. Without a huge amount of power, the sacred desolation physique would become an obstacle to a warrior's advancement. Back then, in the Long family of the Scarlet Fire Town, if not for suddenly obtaining the dragon seal, Longao's cultivation would have stagnated precisely because he possessed the desolate holy body. For a full 10 years, if not for persevering, it was believed that Longao would still be a waste in the Scarlet Fire Town. The sacred desolation physique was the #1 useless physique in the world. It was also the #1 divine physique in the world. 10 days later, Longao was pleasantly surprised as he felt the surging level 4 divine territory circulating in his body. He was really lucky this time. Not only did he obtain the Starry Sky inheritance, but he also used the extra power of the Starry Sky inheritance to raise his cultivation from the ultimate god realm to the Emperor god realm. Longao, although your cultivation has broken through to the peak Emperor god realm, it hasn't stabilized yet. I have a suggestion. You should use a year to stabilize your cultivation. By then, it will be easier for you to break through. Could he wait for a year? It would be fine if he couldn't break through, but if he could, why wouldn't he? In any case, he had a 1-year agreement with the 3 superforces. If he could break through to the Nirvana realm within a year, not only himself, but also the Dragon Valley would be protected. Before Longao could speak, Xiling seemed to have guessed his thoughts. Longao, there are still 10 months left to your 1-year agreement with the 3 superforces. After 10 months, I will do my best to help you break through to the Nirvana realm. Thank you. Since Xiling had said so, what else could Longao say? He firmly believed that Xiling wouldn't harm him. 10 months to stabilize his cultivation in the Emperor God realm wasn't a bad thing. As Xiling said, the longer he stabilized his cultivation, the easier it would be for him to break through in the future. Moreover, there would be great benefits after breaking through to the Nirvana realm. Since things had already come to this, Longao didn't continue to dwell on it. Instead, he hurried on with his journey because there were only 10 days left. If he couldn't make it back in time, then the Starry Sky inheritance would be wasted. How could Longao let go of the peak Emperor God realm's inheritance that he obtained with great difficulty? Chapter 1560. 9 States Continent. In the Dragon Valley. After the 3 superforces attacked the Dragon Valley to no avail, the Dragon Sect's position in the 9 States Continent became more and more stable. It was a strange thing. Under normal circumstances, with the strength of the 3 superpowers, the 9 continents should choose to submit to them. But what happened? Everyone in the 9 States Continent, including all the sects and clans, only followed the Dragon Sect. The Dragon Sect was developing faster and faster, but a month ago, the Dragon Sect's disciples were suddenly assassinated, causing everyone in the Dragon Valley to panic. Only Longao and Longao knew about this. Longao's sudden return caused the Dragon Valley to be filled with joy. In the backyard. In the pavilion. Aoa, you're finally back. Recently, someone has been assassinating our Dragon Sect's disciples. The disciples outside have all been killed. The Purple Thunder Sect and the Black Heaven Sect. Longao knew that this matter was related to Yi Wuren of the Purple Thunder Sect and the Black Heaven Sect. With his relationship with the Purple Thunder Ancestor, the Purple Thunder Ancestor wouldn't have to do this if they wanted to deal with him. Because of this, Longao was sure that this matter was related to Yi Wuren alone and had nothing to do with the Purple Thunder Sect or the Purple Thunder Ancestor. Other than Yi Wuren, there was only the Black Heaven Sect. Longao said coldly, I'm here to see what the Black Heaven Sect and Yi Wuren are up to. Since they want to play, I'll play with them. With the 2 level 2 Nirvana Divine Beasts, the Blood Spider and the Blood Praying Mantis, as long as it wasn't a Nirvana Divine Beast or a Nirvana Divine Beast, the Dragon Valley would be safe. Aoa, be careful. Aoa smiled. Grandfather, this time I went to the outer sea and entered the astral purgatory. Not only did I successfully obtain the Martial Dao Peak inheritance, I even brought back 2 level 2 Nirvana Divine Beasts. Longao was overjoyed. The current Longao was different from the past. A Martial Dao Peak expert was the strongest existence in the Tianwu continent. Longao never thought that his grandson could obtain the Martial Dao Peak inheritance. If that was the case, wouldn't Aoa become a Martial Dao Peak expert in the future? 2 Nirvana Divine Beasts. Aoa. Grandpa, I'm fine. How could Longao not know what his grandfather was about to say? There was no doubt that if nothing unexpected happened, his grandfather would definitely tell him to be more careful. Grandpa, there's something I want to discuss with you, but don't leak this out. He was very curious. When Longao saw that his grandson was so serious, he knew that what Aoa was about to say was definitely not simple. Don't worry. I know what to do. Longao was very confident in his grandfather. Grandpa, as I said earlier, I obtained the Starry Sky inheritance in the Outer Sea Star Purgatory, which is the peak Martial Dao inheritance. However, I don't intend to devour the peak Martial Dao inheritance. Aoa, why is that? Longao was shocked to the extreme when he heard that his grandson did not devour the Martial Dao peak inheritance. He knew very well what it meant if his grandson devoured the Martial Dao peak inheritance. If there were no accidents, his son would be able to reach the pinnacle of martial arts after devouring the inheritance of the pinnacle of martial arts. Why would his grandson choose to give up such a good opportunity? Grandpa, there are some things that you won't understand, but I've already made up my mind. Longao looked deeply at his grandson in front of him and sighed in the end. He knew his grandson's character very well. As long as Aoa had decided on something, it was almost impossible to change his mind. Aoa, you want to give the Martial Dao peak inheritance to others? Yes, Grandpa. Think about it, who is the most suitable person to inherit the Martial Dao peak inheritance among all the people in our family? Longao was also very selfish. Everyone in the dragon sect, including the people in the family, and the people outside. If he had to choose, Longao would choose his own people without hesitation, which meant the people in the family. It would be best if it was his brothers, sisters, and uncles. How could Longao not know about Aoa's intention? He lowered his head and started to ponder. After a while, Longao raised his head and said, Aoa, what do you think of Ying? Big brother? Longao smiled. Because among all the brothers and sisters, Long Ying's talent was the best, and he was also the one who broke through to the Supreme Dao realm the fastest. Now, Long Ying was already a true Supreme Dao warrior, and a man-god warrior. Grandpa, I'll have to trouble you to call Big Brother over. I have something I need to talk to him about. Longao knew why Aoa was looking for Ying. Without the slightest hesitation, he sent people to Long Ying's residence to summon her. A few minutes later. Grandpa, seventh brother, what do you need me for? Long Ying was very curious. She didn't know why her seventh brother was looking for her at this time. Aoa, if there's anything, just tell Ying. Nodding, Longao smiled. Big brother, as your cultivation base continues to increase, you should know about the Martial Dao peak. I know. Long Ying was even more curious now. He didn't know why his seventh brother had suddenly brought up this matter. After all, this matter was related to the peak of the martial path. It wasn't just him. Any martial artist should know about it. The peak of the martial path was the strongest in the martial heaven continent. The Martial Dao peak experts. Longao then roughly explained the Martial Dao peak experts, as well as the Starry Sky realm. Whether it was Longao or Long Ying, neither of them had imagined that the legendary peak of the Martial Dao peak experts was actually the Starry Sky realm. Big brother, when I went to the Outer Sea Star Purgatory, my luck was pretty good. I obtained a Starry Sky inheritance, which is the peak of the Martial Dao peak experts' inheritance. However, I'm not going to devour it. Grandfather and I both want you to devour the Starry Sky inheritance. Furthermore, I've already dealt with it. Once you devour it, if nothing unexpected happens, you'll become a Starry Sky cultivator in 3 to 10 years. Long Ying was a bit dumbfounded. Disbelief filled her face. Long Ying had never imagined that her seventh brother wouldn't let her devour the Starry Sky inheritance. Instead, he wanted her to devour the Starry Sky inheritance. Looking at her seventh brother's expression, he wasn't joking. Seventh brother, forgive me for being blunt, but why don't you devour the Starry Sky inheritance yourself? Big brother, I want to reproduce my own core energy. But don't worry, even if you devour the Starry Sky inheritance and become a first-rank Starry Sky cultivator in the future, I'll think of a way for you to keep devouring it. Big brother, your current mission is to break through as quickly as possible and protect the Dragon Valley. Danger lurked everywhere. If the Dragon Valley had a Starry Sky cultivator guarding it, then let alone the 3 superpowers, even if the 10 direction cauldrons came, the Dragon Valley wouldn't care about them. Chapter 1561. How could Long Ying not know the danger of Dragon Valley and her seventh brother? They were surrounded by danger. Ying, since Aoa has said so, why don't you accept it? After thinking about it. In the end, Long Ying nodded and said, "Thank you, seventh brother. I will do my best to refine the Starry Sky inheritance." In the following time. After receiving the Starry Sky inheritance, Long Ying immediately found a secret place and began to refine the Starry Sky inheritance in seclusion. She hoped to finish refining the Starry Sky inheritance as soon as possible and break through to the Starry Sky cultivation realm. No one else knew about the Starry Sky inheritance, including Longao's parents. In Longao and Longhao's opinion, the fewer people who knew about the Starry Sky inheritance, the better it would be for Dragon Valley and Long Ying. The blood-red spider and the blood-red mantis, two level 2 Nirvana divine beasts, were guarding Dragon Valley. Longao did not choose to hide this matter. Instead, he publicized it. Longao's intention was simple. If other forces knew that there were two level 2 Nirvana divine beasts guarding Dragon Valley, it would serve as a deterrent. The effect was as expected. The news of Dragon Valley having two level 2 Nirvana divine beasts guarding it had spread throughout the Jojo continent and even the Tianwu continent. It was also because of this that Dragon Sect would become the true overlord of the Jojo continent from now on. Other than the Great Tripod, even among second-grade forces, the Dragon Sect was considered to be one of the top existences. It could even be ranked in the top 3. The entire continent was shocked. Long Family, Martial Artists Alliance, and WAN Show Sect. When they heard the news, they were angrier, more depressed, and more regretful than the other. However, due to the deterrence of the divine mathematician, the three superforces could only wait for the one-year agreement. However, the three superforces were not willing to give up so easily. Although they could not take action, Purple Thunder Sect and Black Heaven Sect could. However, what made the three superforces very depressed was that Purple Thunder Sect suddenly chose to withdraw, leaving only Black Heaven Sect. Black Heaven Sect. Longao returned this time mainly to deal with Black Heaven Sect. This battle was unavoidable. Longao brought the two level 2 Nirvana divine beasts and the Corpse Demon army and rushed towards the Black Heaven Sect. Not only that, Longao announced to the world that the Black Heaven Sect had assassinated the disciples of the Dragon Valley for no reason, and this was unforgivable. In this way, it was as if Longao had become a righteous man who was going to crusade against the Black Heaven Sect. As for whether or not the Black Heaven Sect was in cahoots with the three superforces, Longao did not mention it. Even a smart person would be able to guess what was going on. Without the three superforces, why would the Black Heaven Sect assassinate the disciples of the Dragon Valley for no reason unless they had nothing better to do? Apart from the three superforces, everyone else chose to support Longao and the Dragon Valley. If Longao didn't do anything, he would be looked down upon by others. A great battle was about to break out. In everyone's opinion, this battle was unavoidable. The Black Heaven Sect was one of the 10 sects. If the Black Heaven Sect chose to avoid the battle, would they not be laughed at by the world? Would the Black Heaven Sect do such a foolish thing? Just when everyone chose to believe that this battle was unavoidable, the result made everyone's jaws drop. Not only did the Black Heaven Sect not fight, but they even announced to the world that this was all their fault. They announced to the world that they were apologizing. As one of the 10 sects, the Black Heaven Sect was completely humiliating themselves by doing this. In this way, the Black Heaven Sect was utterly humiliated, and no one could understand why the Black Heaven Sect would do this. In terms of strength, the Black Heaven Sect was far more powerful than the Dragon Valley. If a battle were to break out, the Dragon Valley would definitely not be a match for the Black Heaven Sect. If it was in the past, Longao would definitely not let this matter go. The Black Heaven Sect had assassinated his disciples for no reason, and if this matter was not resolved, how could he and the Dragon Valley maintain their standing? However, the situation was completely different now, and Longao was not reckless at all. He was now enemies with the three superforces, and a great battle would break out in a year's time. At this time, He should be prepared to face the battle in a year's time. Going head-to-head with the Black Heaven sect would not benefit himself or the Dragon Valley at all. After accepting the Black Heaven sect's apology, Longao led his army back to the Dragon Valley. The three superforces were extremely depressed when they heard the news, and they immediately sent people to the Black Heaven sect to ask what had happened. Unfortunately, the Black Heaven sect refused to see them. Both the Black Heaven sect and the Purple Thunder sect had chosen to give up, and the three superforces could not do anything. Could they just watch as Longao continued to develop his strength and the Dragon Valley's forces? If it was someone else, the three superforces would definitely not care about them. Longao was too unpredictable, and no one knew how far Longao would develop in a year's time. Dragon Valley, a remote place behind the mountains. Longao sat quietly on the ground with his hands facing the sky. Although his cultivation had broken through from the peak ultimate god realm to the peak god realm, according to Xiling, he would need 10 months to stabilize his peak god realm. 10 months later, he would be at the final stage of the breakthrough. 2 hours later, Longao stood up with the reincarnation sword in his hand. After a few days of practicing the reincarnation sword technique, Longao found that he was gradually getting into the basics of the reincarnation sword technique. The reincarnation sword technique was divided into several stages, and Longao was only at the first stage, which was also the most basic stage. Even so, Longao was still amazed by the power of the reincarnation sword technique. Even the basic stage of the reincarnation sword chi could easily break through the domain of heaven and earth and forbidden energy. Let's see how powerful you are. Longao looked deeply at the endless forest in front of him and roared. He channeled all the energy in his body into his hands and circulated the reincarnation sword technique. With a whoosh, the reincarnation sword chi shot out at lightning speed. Rumble. At the same time, the endless forest in front of him was sliced open by the reincarnation sword chi. Everywhere it passed, it turned into ashes. Looking at the scene in front of him, Longao was dumbfounded and seemed to be in disbelief. After only a few days of practice, his reincarnation sword chi seemed to have become much stronger. It was as if the reincarnation sword technique was prepared for him. A purple light flashed and Xiling's figure suddenly appeared. Xiling was a little surprised and said with emotion, "No wonder it's the supreme sword technique of the reincarnation clan. Just this power alone." Xiling, did you just say that the reincarnation sword technique came from the reincarnation clan? He was very surprised. Longao, actually you have already guessed it. Why do you ask so much? The reincarnation sword technique is the supreme sword technique of the reincarnation clan. The reincarnation sword in your hand should be the supreme divine sword of the reincarnation clan. I believe you have personally tested the power of the combination of the two. Chapter 1562. Longao had personally witnessed the power of the reincarnation sword and reincarnation sword technique. Its power was amazing. Thinking about it, he felt relieved. The reincarnation sword light could even break the forbidden power and the domain of heaven and earth. It was easy to imagine how powerful the reincarnation sword light was. As for the reincarnation sword technique, Longao had already guessed it. Longao, the reincarnation sword technique you are now practicing is only at the initial stage. As your cultivation and strength continue to improve, the reincarnation sword technique will become more and more powerful. He nodded. Longao was very confident about the reincarnation sword light. Longao, your reincarnation sword light can break the forbidden power and the domain of heaven and earth. But don't be careless. Nirvana realm warriors are not existences you can compete with. I understand. The gap between the Emperor God realm and the Nirvana realm was too big. It was difficult to make up for the gap between realms with other things. Looking at the reincarnation sword in his hand, Longao said with a little sigh, "If the reincarnation sword can be divided into two, then the reincarnation avatar and I can each have one." The reincarnation avatar's strength was needless to say. If the reincarnation avatar could get the reincarnation sword and combine the two, the power would be even more terrifying. But this was just a thought. It was impossible to come true. Longao, you have the reincarnation sword technique and the reincarnation sword. There is hope for me and my sister's revenge. Xiling, you and Bai Ling have never mentioned to me. Longao did not finish his words, but the meaning in his words was already very clear. It's not time yet. This sentence again. Every time he heard Xiling and Long Fu say this, Longao felt a headache. Although he knew what they said was right, he still felt a little uncomfortable. When will it be time? When you officially step into the 7th Starry Sky Cultivator Realm. 7th Starry Sky Cultivator Realm? Although Xiling did not state it clearly, Longao had already guessed it. If there were no accidents, Xiling and Bai Ling's opponents would most likely be Grade 8 Starry Sky Cultivators, or even Grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivators. If that was really the case, this matter would indeed be somewhat troublesome. Since Xiling didn't want to talk about it, Longao didn't ask further. However, Longao was very clear about one thing. Whether it was Xiling and Bai Ling's worries or his own matters, the first thing he needed was strength. Everything else was nonsense. What happened? What happened? He shook his head. Longao's expression was very ugly. He didn't know why, but he suddenly had a bad premonition in his heart. It was as if someone was cutting his flesh with a knife. The bad premonition was getting stronger and stronger. Longao, guard your core. Is it because you broke through too quickly and haven't completely stabilized your foundation? Is there a backlash? He didn't rule out this possibility. For some reason, Longao didn't feel that it was because of this. Longao, come out. Suddenly, an urgent voice came from the sky above the Dragon Valley. Hades. Hearing the voice, Longao was a little surprised. He didn't know why Hades was looking for him at this time. Although Hades was Yu Yin's master, there was a big grudge between them. Hades had sent people to kill him before. If it weren't for his good luck, he would have become a corpse by now. Could it be that something happened to Yu Yin? Longao's heart became more and more uncomfortable. He immediately got up. In the backyard of the Dragon Valley. Hades, what are you here for this time? Not friends, just enemies. Hades' sudden appearance, except for Yu Yin's matter, Longao didn't know what else Hades could be here for. Longao, something happened to Yu Yin. His heart thumped. As expected, the bad premonition and Hades' sudden appearance meant that something really had happened to Yu Yin. Longao couldn't wait any longer. He immediately asked, Hades, what happened to Yu Yin? His 3 confidants were Yu Yin, Aoshue, and Bai Ling. Now that Aoshue was in the Phoenix race, whether it was good or bad was unknown. Bai Ling was also unconscious. No one knew when Bai Ling would wake up. As for Yu Yin, although her cultivation base had officially broken through to the Nirvana realm, the Martial Heaven continent was filled with experts. As the saying went, there was always a mountain beyond a mountain, a sky beyond a sky. No one could be sure that Yu Yin's cultivation base would always be smooth sailing. Longao, since things have already reached this point, I won't hide it from you. Fuck, Longao cursed inwardly. In order to help Yu Yin break through to a higher realm, I brought Yu Yin to the western regions. We went to the place where I went to gain experience. According to my calculations, once Yu Yin entered that place, her strength would increase. Longao didn't say anything. He was very clear that at this time, he had to remain calm. After all, being impulsive wouldn't solve any problems. It would only interfere with his judgment. Yu Yin's talent and luck are very good. After entering that place, she smoothly broke through. Now, Yu Yin has already reached the unity of heaven and man realm. She's only one step away from reaching the heaven multiplying realm. So what? Longao was furious to the extreme. He cursed Hades inwardly. How could Longao not know what Hades was thinking? Even if Hades' intentions were good, he had been too impatient. Now, although Yu Yin's cultivation base had broken through, she had encountered danger. If that's the case, what happened to Yu Yin? Although Yu Yin safely left that place, her soul was trapped inside. I didn't notice it at the time. This was troublesome. Where is Yu Yin now? The western regions. Take me there. All right, we'll leave immediately. Without the slightest hesitation, Longao immediately got up and left. However, before he left, he instructed a few things, especially the matter of Big Brother obtaining the Starry Sky inheritance. After all, if this matter were to spread out, he believed that the 10 Cauldrons would be jealous and snatch it. If that was the case, things would be troublesome. Aoa, you have to be careful. Don't worry, grandfather. I'll leave the Dragon Valley to you. Don't worry. Without lingering, Longao followed Hades into the sky. In the blink of an eye, the two of them disappeared without a trace, turning into 2 black dots. Longao heaved a deep sigh as he looked at Longao's figure that had already disappeared. Because Aoa's rise, it seemed that he had not really rested for a day. He was always in danger. Now that he had left, no one knew whether he would come back or not. Even if he had full confidence in Longao, Longao was still incomparably worried in his heart. He was afraid that his grandson would have a problem. Aoa, you have to come back safely. After Longao left, Longao not only continued to block the news of Long Ying obtaining the inheritance of the Starry Sky, but also prepared to quickly develop the strength of the Dragon Valley. After all, the Black Heaven sect and Purple Thunder sect no longer dared to assassinate the disciples of the Dragon Valley. Chapter 1563. The Sky Marshal continent was divided into 5 major continents. They were the Eastern Region continent, Western Region continent, Southern Sea continent, Northern Plains continent, and Middle Sky Marshal continent. Among the 5 major continents, the Sky Marshal continent was the strongest, followed by the Southern Sea continent. The Eastern Region continent was the weakest, and the Northern Plains continent was the strongest. As for the Western Region continent, it was neither too strong nor too weak. The Western Region continent did not have a large population. Anxious for Yu Yin's safety, Longao and Hades' speed soared to the extreme. With their speed, it would take them dozens of days to reach the Western Region continent from the 9-region continent. Could Yu Yin wait? Even if Yu Yin could wait, Longao could not. He had already broken through to the peak God Emperor realm. If he chose to use the space-time wheel now, even if there was a backlash, it would not kill him. Fortunately, he had Hades' help. Hades was in the Nirvana realm, and his cultivation had reached the Nirvana realm. He was only 1 step away from breaking through to the Nirvana rebirth realm. Hades, with our speed, it will take us at least 10 days to reach the Western Region continent. What do you want? There was no teleportation array from the 9-region continent to the Western Region continent. I hope you can help me. We can reach the Western Region continent in about 2 hours. Hades seemed to be very surprised. With the help of the Underworld God's strength and the space-time wheel, Longao and the Underworld God arrived at the Western Region continent in a few seconds, let alone 2 hours. Longao, I have to admit that I underestimated you. What do you mean? Longao's thoughts were all on Yu Yin. If it was before, he would have guessed Hades' meaning. In just a few years, you were able to reach this realm. Your talent is beyond my imagination. Longao smiled, but did not say anything. Talent? Was it possible for a martial artist to rely on talent alone? Longao was very clear that the reason why he could achieve what he had today in just a few years was because of his own talent, life and death experiences, as well as opportunities. Not one of them could be missing. Ever since Hades sensed Longao's cultivation, he was truly shocked to the extreme. Peak God Emperor realm. He was only a step away from breaking through to the Nirvana realm. With such talent and potential, he was unparalleled in the world. However, Longao obviously didn't want to talk about it, so Hades didn't ask any more questions. The more Longao acted this way, the more confident Hades felt. At the very least, it could be seen that Longao was sincere to Yu Yin. Hades, where is Yu Yin now? Come with me. In a small city. The courtyard was surrounded by the domain of heaven and earth. Ordinary people could not enter at all. Moreover, there were several supreme divine beasts guarding it. Looking at Yu Yin lying on the bed, Longao's face was extremely gloomy. He could clearly sense that Yu Yin's divine soul was damaged. Even if she was not dead, it was almost impossible for her to wake up unless he could find the place where her divine soul was. Hades, what is going on? The Underworld God's expression was also a little ugly. He said helplessly, According to my guess, if there were no accidents, Yuyin would have entered that place smoothly. It was all because of the inheritance of darkness. Dark inheritance. Could it be that Yuyin had obtained the dark inheritance? Hades seemed to have guessed Longao's thoughts. Before he could speak, he continued, the dark inheritance is the inheritance that all 10 sides want to obtain. However, for countless years, no one has been able to obtain it except for Yuyin. Longao did not speak. He just listened quietly. Yuyin had obtained the dark inheritance. Under normal circumstances, she should have broken through smoothly. However, after entering that place this time, the dark inheritance in Yuyin's body has disappeared. What do you mean? What I mean is very simple. Yuyin's divine soul should have been detained by the dark world. We must find Yuyin's divine soul as soon as possible. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable. Without Hades saying more, Longao naturally knew the seriousness of the matter. Hades, I want to know, what is the dark inheritance? The Nirvana inheritance? Or the starry sky inheritance? Longao guessed that the dark inheritance that Yuyin had obtained was not the starry sky inheritance, but the so-called Nirvana inheritance. You guessed wrong. The dark inheritance is not the inheritance of strength, but the inheritance of the dark world. Yuyin obtained the inheritance to open the dark world and enter it. She obtained the dark world's approval and her strength soared. Back then, the Nether God had also obtained the inheritance of darkness and entered the world of darkness. It was precisely because of this that the Nether God's strength had soared. In just a few short decades, the Nether God had reached the Nirvana stage. What is the situation in the dark world? The dark world is just a tribe. When I entered the dark world, I found that the dark world did not only have the Nirvana rebirth inheritance, but also the peak of the martial path. I did this in hopes that Yuyin could obtain the peak of the martial path. At that time, once Yuyin's cultivation base breaks through to the peak of the martial path, she would be unstoppable in the martial heaven continent. Although he was shocked, Longao naturally didn't have the slightest doubt. He had never imagined that the dark world would have the starry sky inheritance. It was no wonder Hades was acting like this. There are almost no experts in the dark world. When I entered the dark world, the strongest expert I found was an expert who had comprehended the laws of heaven and earth. After a few decades, at most, an expert who had comprehended the laws of heaven and earth would appear. But even so, obtaining the dark world's inheritance is extremely dangerous. The slightest mistake could lead to eternal damnation. I still don't understand. Since Yuyin has already smoothly broken through, even if she didn't obtain the dark world's inheritance, why would Yuyin's soul be captured? Longao was very curious. After all, there was only one way to retrieve Yuyin's soul. That was to personally enter the dark world. No matter what happened, no matter what danger he encountered, he had to do it. Otherwise, Yuyin would continue to be unconscious. According to my guess, Yuyin should have already seen the peak of the martial path. But the result was that not only did she not obtain the dark world's inheritance, but it also silently captured her soul. Otherwise, how could Yuyin not know about this after leaving the dark world for so long? I understand. Longao, I've already entered the dark world. There's no way for me to get close to the peak of the martial path. So you have to enter the dark world. That way, the chances of retrieving Yuyin's soul will be much higher. However, I have to warn you that once you enter the dark world, it will be extremely dangerous. It can be said that you have a 90% chance of dying. Chapter 1564. Longao had already guessed it. If Hades could enter the dark world, then he wouldn't have to go all the way to the Jojo continent to find him. I choose to enter the dark world. Without even thinking about it, without even the slightest hesitation, Longao had already agreed. He was a little surprised. From the underworld god's point of view, Longao would definitely not choose to enter the world of darkness after he mentioned the dangers of the world of darkness. He was very impressed. He was very satisfied. Longao, I already know about the relationship between you and Yuyin. After this incident, I will fully support you. What about the Martial Artists Alliance? Longao wasn't surprised at all. After all, Hades was a member of the Martial Artists Alliance. You don't have to worry about it. He shrugged helplessly. Hades didn't want to say more, and Longao didn't ask more. In this situation, Longao was most worried about Yu Yin. The most important thing now was to enter the Dark World as soon as possible, find the Dark Inheritance, and find Yu Yin's divine soul. Where is the Dark World? Longao, in your current situation, you can't enter the Dark World at all. He was very depressed. He couldn't enter the Dark World, and Hades couldn't do anything either. Then wouldn't Yu Yin be doomed? As if he could read Longao's mind, Hades thought for a while and said, "Later, I will refine the dark inheritance that Yu Yin obtained into a dark energy shield. You can use this dark energy shield to enter the Dark World smoothly. You should have said so earlier. You scared me to death." In the following time, Hades began to refine the dark energy shield, and Longao stayed by Yu Yin's side, quietly guarding her. In the Western continent, there were countless sects and families. However, the overall strength of the Western region's continent was far inferior to the Zhongqian martial continent, but it was far superior to the Nine Provinces continent. The continent of the Nine Continents didn't have any divine Dao martial artists holding down the fort, but the continent of the West was different. Not only did it have divine Dao martial artists holding down the fort, it even had supreme divine Dao martial artists holding down the fort. As for Rebirth Realm martial artists, there wasn't a single one. You could say that the Sky Martial Continent was one of the 5 major continents. Other than the Sky Martial Continent and the Outer Sea, the other 3 major continents did not have any Nirvana Realm martial artists. Longao's current cultivation had already reached the peak God Emperor realm. With such powerful strength, he could do whatever he wanted in the Western continent. He was invincible in the Western continent. As for the world of darkness, according to Hades, the strongest warrior in the Dark Realm could only sense the heavens and the earth. At most, he could reach the unity of Heaven and Man Phoenix clan. Within the Lotus Flower Cave, Aoshue gently stroked her belly with a gentle look on her face. "Mother, is there any news about my situation in the clan?" Aoshue said with a smile as she watched her mother step into the cave. However, she felt even more depressed. For more than a year, there was still no movement from the child in her belly. Under normal circumstances, no matter if it was a human or a phoenix, it would take 10 months to conceive. She was the only one who had exceeded 10 months and still showed no signs of giving birth. She felt helpless. Liu Ying said dejectedly, "The patriarch and the other elders are trying to think of a way, but until now, there is still no way." "Aoshue, your belly shouldn't be a bad thing." "Not a bad thing. She was pregnant for 10 months but still didn't give birth. Even her belly wasn't that big. Was this not a bad thing?" "Aoshue, although your talent and physique are different, your cultivation shouldn't have increased so quickly." "Mother, what do you mean?" The patriarch, and the other elders have already discussed your situation. Under normal circumstances, even with your talent and physique, you should be able to reach the divine Dao realm at most. That's already very good. Unless you are enlightened, you won't be able to improve too quickly." Aoshue didn't say anything. Her face was filled with curiosity. She didn't know what her mother meant. "Aoshue, what I mean is actually very simple. Because of your child, your cultivation speed has increased by more than 100 times. In just 2 years, you have already reached the Divine Emperor realm. If there are no accidents, you can officially break through to the Nirvana realm in 3 months. Among Longao's 3 female confidants, except for Bai Ling who had not recovered from her injuries, the other 2, Aoshue and Yu Yin, had already reached the Nirvana realm. If this news were to spread, would it shock the world? Would Aoshue care? Aoshue only smiled indifferently. She didn't feel the slightest bit of happiness because she was about to break through to the Nirvana realm. Now, she only cared about her child. Even if she didn't improve for the rest of her life, it wouldn't be a problem. Aoshue wasn't a fool. How could she not know that the rapid increase in her cultivation was definitely related to her child? Because to her cultivation, there didn't seem to be any bottlenecks to speak of. As a matter of course, she advanced triumphantly all the way. A mother's love was the greatest love in the world. Liu Ying had already guessed her daughter's thoughts when she saw the expression on Aoshua's face. She sighed deeply in her heart. Poor mothers. They could sacrifice everything for their children. Not to mention their cultivation, they wouldn't even bat an eyelid if they had to sacrifice their own lives. Mother, what should I do now? The clan leader and the other elders are still thinking of a way. However, Aoshua, the only thing you need to do now is enter the phoenix pool as soon as possible. Perhaps when you recover your half-true form, you will give birth. Aoshua had the purest bloodline in her body. Once she entered the phoenix pool and awakened the bloodline in her body, she would be able to transform into a phoenix. Furthermore, she would be the strongest phoenix in the history of the Phoenix clan. This was the real reason why the Phoenix clan treated Aoshua so well. However, Aoshua had always been unwilling to enter the phoenix pool. The reason was very simple. She was afraid of harming her child. If it wasn't for her child's help in breaking through, Aoshua was almost certain that the Phoenix clan would have already made a move on her child. If her child lived, she would live. If her child died, she would die too. Aoshua had already thought about this matter and made the same decision. It was just that Liu Ying and the others didn't know about it. Mother, make the arrangements for me. After 3 months, when my cultivation officially breaks through to the Nirvana realm, I will enter the Phoenix pool. I hope that my child can be born smoothly. If there are any accidents, I will leave with him. Leave together. Of course, Liu Ying knew what her daughter meant. She didn't try to persuade her because Liu Ying was very clear about her daughter's personality. Every mother would be like this. It was useless for her to say anything more. All right, mother will make the arrangements now. Don't worry. When the time comes, the clan leader, the other elders, and mother will protect you. There definitely won't be any problems. After speaking, Liu Ying turned and left. In the empty cave, only Aoshua was left. Gently stroking her hair, Aoshua chuckled and said to herself, "Be good. I will definitely take you to see your father. P.S. Let everyone see little Nine's strength." 9 chapters in a row. If you can endure, continue to endure. If you can't, continue to erupt tomorrow. Chapter 1565. Longao, the Dark Shield has been successfully refined. Hearing Hades's words, Longao was overjoyed. He had thought Hades would need at least 3 days to refine the Dark Shield. In the end, it only took the underworld god a day and a night to successfully refine the Dark Aura barrier. In that case, I will immediately go to the Dark World. After 2 hours of general explanation, Longao could be considered to have a better understanding of the situation regarding the Dark World. The Dark World was located in the middle of a barren mountain. There were barren mountains on all sides. It was a desolate place. Hades, you don't have to go in with me. You stay and take care of Yu Yin. Although the courtyard was shrouded in the domain of heaven and earth, Longao was still worried. It was better to be safe than sorry. If something happened to Yu Yin, what would he do? Hades was a Nirvana realm martial artist. As long as it was not a Nirvana rebirth expert, no one in the world would be a match for Hades. Longao had never thought that Hades would be a Nirvana realm martial artist. All along, Longao had always thought that Yu Yin's master Hades was only a divine path martial artist. Hades also knew the seriousness of the matter and also understood Longao's meaning. After thinking for a while, he said, "Well, you and I will act separately. When we enter the Dark World, we must be careful. Don't act rashly." "I know." Without continuing, Longao turned and walked toward the entrance. The Dark World was a legendary existence. Countless people only knew that there was the Nirvana rebirth inheritance in the Dark World. Only when Hades entered the Dark World, he was shocked to find that there was an inheritance at the peak of martial arts in the Dark World. Ordinary people could not enter the Dark World at all. In the past 10,000 years, only the underworld god and Yuin had entered the world of darkness. According to Hades, the world of darkness was a powerful tribe that had been sealed by the heavens and earth. As for what had happened, no one knew. Although Longao did not receive the darkness inheritance, His body was covered by the darkness chi shield. He smoothly stepped into the entrance. With a flash of black light, Longao's body disappeared from the entrance. The world was overcast, as if the sky was dark, and the sun was also dark. It gave people an extremely uncomfortable feeling. They were surrounded by mountain peaks and rocks. Tribe of Darkness. According to Hade's explanation, Longao knew that the true overlord of the dark world was the sealed Tribe of Darkness. As for the surroundings, there were mountains and rocks everywhere. There was no one in sight. As for whether there were divine beasts or not, it was unknown. If an ordinary person came in, it would take a lot of time just to find the Tribe of Darkness. However, now that he knew the exact location of the Tribe of Darkness, Longao did not hesitate and immediately rushed towards the southeast. He had to make the best use of every second. Longao did not know whether the Darkness inheritance would directly devour Yu Yin's divine soul. The longer it took, the more unfavorable it would be for Yu Yin. The Dark City was surrounded by walls, like a devouring beast. Looking at the Dark City in front of him, Longao's face was indifferent, without a trace of fear. The darkness chi shield had entered his body. Longao was very clear that even if he entered the Tribe of Darkness now, he would probably be discovered by the Tribe of Darkness. It was not easy to avoid all the dangers and find the place of the Darkness inheritance. What will come will come. For Yu Yin, he would not hesitate to go through a mountain of swords or a sea of fire. If you do not leave me, I will be with you in life and death. Longao's ears were still ringing with the words Yu Yin had said to him. This kind of lover was unswerving. Just like that. Longao finally took a step forward and walked towards the dark city in front of him. The total number of people in the Tribe of Darkness was less than 10,000. Until now, Longao did not know who sealed the Tribe of Darkness. Was it really sealed by heaven and earth? He would not believe it even if he was beaten to death. The Tribe of Darkness was full of mysteries. Who are you? Why are you here? A great emperor warrior guarding the gate. He seemed to be a little surprised. However, Longao's most important purpose in entering the Dark World was to find Yu Yin's divine soul and the inheritance of the Dark World. As for other matters, it had nothing to do with him. I have obtained the Darkness inheritance. This time, I came to find the inheritance of the Dark World. Speaking the truth. According to Hades, as long as one obtains the Darkness inheritance, as long as they do not leave the Dark World, they would be equivalent to a member of the Tribe of Darkness. In this case, as long as they do not provoke the Tribe of Darkness or encounter those who deliberately seek trouble, they would not have the slightest trouble. But now that he thought about it, other than obtaining the Darkness inheritance, no one else could enter the Dark World. The seal alone was enough to destroy everything. Even a Nirvana rebirth expert could not break the seal and enter the Dark World. Please come in. The two guards looked at each other and saw a trace of shock in each other's eyes. Because in the past 10,000 years, only one person had entered the Tribe of Darkness to search for the Dark World. What happened in the past few months that caused two people to enter consecutively? Someone obtaining the Darkness inheritance and entering the Dark World was not a big deal in the Tribe of Darkness. As long as the person looking for the Darkness inheritance did not cause trouble, no one would care. Nodding, Longao continued to move forward. According to Hades, the Darkness inheritance was in the Tribe of Darkness. Back then, she found it in a daze. As for the specific location, even Hades did not know. In other words, in order to find the Darkness inheritance, in addition to strength, the most important factor was luck. Otherwise, even if a Nirvana rebirth expert came in person, they might not be able to find the Darkness inheritance. After entering the Dark City, Longao did not immediately start looking for the Darkness inheritance. Instead, he began to wander around aimlessly, looking left and right at the Dark City. The Dark City was similar to other cities and towns. However, it was less lively and more solemn. But after thinking about it, it was understandable. After all, the Dark Tribe had been sealed in the Dark World for many years. People had long been disappointed and even despaired. It was hard for Longao to imagine what would happen to him and his family if his dragon sect was sealed for 10,000 years. He was afraid that they would not be as good as the Dark Tribe. From another point of view, the Dark Tribe was already very good to be able to hold on for 10,000 years. Miss, quickly go back. Patriarch will blame us. HMPH. RDA, don't keep following me. Dad forces me to cultivate every day. It's so annoying. No matter what, I won't go back today. At this time, a very flirtatious young woman walked with a face full of displeasure. Behind her were two burly men with faces full of depression. P.S. Chapter 10 has been delivered. Little 9, go eat something first and continue writing. Chapter 1566. Miss Shut Up. The flirtatious girl was clearly unhappy and impatient, but there was nothing she could do about it. Because the two people behind the pretty girl were much more powerful than her. It was not easy to get rid of them. However, the coquettish girl's lips curled into a meaningful sneer. You, wait. Longao, who was looking around, was suddenly stopped by the pretty girl. He was surprised and asked, "What's the matter?" He entered the dark world to find the dark inheritance and take back Yu Yin's divine soul. Unless it was a last resort, he could not get into trouble. Boy, you teased me last time. Did you forget? When did he tease her? In an instant, Longao knew that she was looking for trouble. However, Longao was depressed. He had just entered the dark world and did not have any grudges with anyone. Was she looking for trouble because she had nothing better to do? How dare you tease our miss? You're courting death. Before the flirtatious girl could speak, the two burly men behind her had already stepped forward, one on the left and one on the right. Two divine emperors? Longao was surprised. The two men were so powerful. It seemed that the girl's identity was not simple. He did not want to get into trouble, but he was not afraid of trouble. However, Longao still endured and retreated. He did not want to fight with them. If he provoked the Dark Tribe, it would be a big obstacle for him to find the Dark Inheritance. For Yu Yin, he had to endure. Of course, RDA and RE would not let it go. They did not know that this was the Miss's scheme. Otherwise, they would not have acted so easily. Strictly speaking, they would never have thought that the Miss would joke about this. After all, reputation was the most important thing for a girl. You guys have fun. I'll leave first. Muttering to herself, the pretty girl took advantage of the time when the two men were dealing with Longao and left quietly. You two, I don't know you at all. The two men were not fools. With their strength, even if it was a big fight, they could still be alert. Sensing that the Mrs. Aura had disappeared, the two men knew something was wrong. Sorry, it's a misunderstanding. The two men did not continue to fight and immediately turned to chase after the pretty girl. However, the pretty girl had disappeared without a trace. They did not know what to do without knowing the direction. Misunderstanding? Looking at the three people who had already disappeared, Longao was depressed to the extreme. It was a fight for no reason. In the end, it was just a misunderstanding. Longao was not a fool. Of course, he had already guessed that the coquettish girl was doing this on purpose. She wanted to use him to get rid of the two divine emperors. Not a single person was watching the battle. It was as if nothing had happened, and they were still exchanging blows. Longao did not continue to dwell on this issue because he knew that the seductive girl did not have any evil intentions. She just wanted to escape. In the end, the seductive girl was just having fun. Kid, thanks for just now. Longao was still strolling around, but he was more careful. He did not want to repeat the same mistake. He wanted to stay as far away as possible. No need. Kid, what's your name? You can call me whatever you like. I don't care. The pretty girl was a little surprised. She never thought that the kid in front of her would treat her like that. Because everyone in the Dark Tribe looked at her with a perverted expression. The pretty girl was extremely beautiful. She was the #1 beauty in the Dark Tribe. I'm Dongfang Yu. What about you? Dongfang Yu was a divine king expert and the daughter of the Dark Tribe's chief, Dongfang Sheng. She was born beautiful and clever. Moreover, she was a rare cultivation genius. She had reached the divine king realm at such a young age. Black Wolf. Longao did not want to waste time. He did not want to be entangled with the girl in front of him. He knew that Dongfang Yu was a troublesome person. Once he was entangled with her, who knows how much time he would waste. Wait. I don't have time to waste with you. Longao did not linger. He quickly walked away. In a short while, he had disappeared without a trace. Looking at the figure gradually leaving, Dongfang Yu was not as angry as she had imagined. Instead, there was a trace of curiosity on her face. People were like this. The more you were like this, the more curious she would be. Longao did not want to cause trouble for himself, so he left as soon as possible. But the more he did so, the more Dongfang Yu would not let him go. I want to see what kind of person you are. Dongfang Yu chased after Longao. Everyone around was still walking back and forth. It was as if nothing could attract their attention. Perhaps it was because they had given up on life. After all, they had been sealed here for so many years. It was almost impossible to leave. Longao did not care about Dongfang Yu's appearance at all. He was just a passing traveler to the dark world. As long as he found the inheritance of the dark world and found Yu Yin's soul, he would leave the dark world without hesitation. How troublesome. With Longao's strength, how could he not sense that someone was following him? He was depressed to the extreme. With cold eyes, Longao quickened his pace. With the fastest speed, he came to a secluded place. He turned around and said coldly, "Miss Dongfang, forgive me for not knowing you. I have already helped you before. If you continue to pester me, don't blame me for being impolite." Rude. Without the slightest fear, Dongfang Yu took a few steps forward and said with a smile, "If that's the case, I want to see how rude you are. Come on, come on." F***ck, he cursed in his heart. He had seen unreasonable people before, but he had never seen such an unreasonable person. If she was deliberately looking for trouble or an enemy, Longao would definitely not be polite. But when faced with such a mischievous and unreasonable lady, he really had no way of dealing with her. Did he really have to kill Dongfang Yu? Black Wolf, you don't look like someone from the Dark Tribe. Could it be that you obtained the inheritance of the Dark World and came here? There were only tens of thousands of people in the Dark Tribe. With Dongfang Yu's strength, how could she not sense that Longao's aura was not from the Dark Tribe? After being sealed for tens of thousands of years, the people of the Dark Tribe had a unique aura. Black Wolf in front of her did not. That was why Dongfang Yu had such a guess. P.S. The 11th chapter has been delivered. It will continue to be updated today. I hope everyone votes for Little 9. Little 9, thanks. Chapter 1567. She wasn't surprised at all. Longao had never thought of hiding the fact that he had entered the world of darkness. Even if he did, he wouldn't be able to do it. That's right. Countless people have wanted to obtain the ancestors' inheritance for tens of thousands of years. Black Wolf, let alone outsiders like you, even the members of the Dark Tribe want to obtain the ancestors' inheritance. Longao didn't say anything because he didn't know what Dongfang Yu meant. No one has been able to obtain it for tens of thousands of years, so you can't do it either. How would I know if I don't try? You're quite brave and confident. Black Wolf, I can say that it's almost impossible for you to find the ancestors' inheritance by yourself. What did she mean? Do you want to help me? Sure. Longao had always believed that there was no such thing as a free lunch in the world. As if she could guess what Longao was thinking, Dongfang Yu smiled and said, "Black Wolf, I can help you, but you have to promise me one thing." What is it? Longao didn't immediately agree because he didn't know what Dongfang Yu was going to say. Could it be that she wanted him to commit suicide? My condition is very simple. As long as you're willing to help me obtain the Hand of Darkness, I'll bring you to the inheritance land. How about it? Why do you want to help me? They had only met once, and Longao didn't want to have such great charm. It's none of your business. Come with me. Seeing the girl turn and leave, Longao was a little surprised. He had seen mischievous people before, but he had never seen such a mischievous person. Longao didn't refuse because the reason was very simple. If he were to find the inheritance under normal circumstances, who knew how long it would take? Furthermore, he didn't dare to be sure that he would be able to find it. If she could really help him find the inheritance, it might not be a bad thing. Longao had already decided to enter the dark world. No matter what happened, no matter what difficulties he encountered, for Yuan, even if he had to climb a mountain of swords or plunge into a sea of fire, he would not hesitate. Longao followed Dongfang Yu. Black Wolf, which part of the Sky Martial continent are you from? You also know about the Sky Martial continent. He was a bit surprised. Dongfang Yu was very young, and the dark world had been sealed for 10,000 years. How did she know about the Martial Heaven continent? He was a little sad and a little lonely. But soon, Dongfang Yu returned to normal. There was no trace of sadness or loneliness. Although I have never left the dark world, our dark tribe has records of the Sky Martial continent. So that was the case. I come from the 9 prefectures continent. Your strength is not bad. However, you have to be careful later. If you can't get the Hand of Darkness, don't expect me to bring you to the Legacy of Darkness. Through chatting as they walked, Longao finally found out about Dongfang Yu's identity. Dongfang Yu, the youngest daughter of the Tribe of Darkness, was known as the #1 beauty of the Tribe of Darkness. Not only that, Dongfang Yu was also the #1 cultivation genius of the Dark Tribe. At such a young age, she had already reached the Divine King realm. She was also the person who had the highest chance of breaking through to the Nirvana realm. The two of them had unknowingly arrived at the Dark Tribe's headquarters. Black Wolf, the Hand of Darkness is the supreme treasure of my Dark Tribe. If I can obtain it, then even God Kings won't be my match. He was very curious. Dongfang Yu, forgive me for being blunt, but as the daughter of the Tribe of Darkness, it shouldn't be difficult for you to obtain the Hand of Darkness. Why do you have to do this? This matter was a bit strange. Black Wolf, you don't know this. No matter who it is, if they want to obtain the Hand of Darkness, they have to rely on their own strength. Even my father, the Tribe of Darkness's Tribe of Darkness, is no exception. Longao liked this kind of rule. In the Dark Tribe, other than my father and the 2 elders, everyone else can fight for the Hand of Darkness. The condition is very simple. You have to enter the Dark Pavilion under the combined strength of the 8 protectors. At that time, you will naturally obtain the Hand of Darkness. So that's how it was. I really want to know how strong the 8 protectors are. The God Emperor realm. The 4 protectors have already reached the peak of the God Emperor realm. His heart skipped a beat. Among the 8 God Emperor warriors, 4 of them had already reached the peak of the God Emperor realm. Even if it was him, it wouldn't be easy to deal with the 8 of them in an instant. However, Longao was very confident in his own strength. His cultivation had broken through to the peak Emperor God realm. Not to mention 1-on-1, even if it was 1-on-8, he could easily defeat all 8 of them. If it was a Nirvana realm warrior, Longao wouldn't be able to do anything. But if it was a God Emperor warrior, wouldn't it be his chance? I promise you. Black Wolf, before we start, I want to know your strength. God Emperor. As expected. But Black Wolf, even if you are a God Emperor warrior, don't be careless. Although the 8 protectors haven't reached the Nirvana realm, the 8 of them have cultivated the secret technique of the Dark Tribe. When the 8 of them work together, even a Nirvana realm warrior who has comprehended the heaven and earth can't do anything to them. It was very shocking because Longao was very clear about the gap between the Nirvana realm and the God Emperor realm. If the 8 of them worked together, even a Nirvana realm warrior couldn't do anything to them. One could imagine how powerful the secret technique that the 8 of them cultivated was. You don't have to worry. When the time comes, as long as you can help me hold them off for a few minutes, I will have a way to break through. Since Dongfang Yu was Dongfang Sheng's daughter, Longao was almost certain that Dongfang Yu definitely had a trump card. However, the gap between a God Emperor and a God King warrior was huge. Moreover, the 8 of them were working together. Could Dongfang Yu successfully break through? However, since things had already reached this stage, Longao was prepared to give it a try. He had to try his best to buy time. Let's go. The two of them walked into a corridor and came to a huge training ground. Dongfang Yu pointed at a pavilion opposite them and said, "The hand of darkness that I want is in the dark pavilion. Remember, as long as you can help me hold on for 2 minutes, I will have a chance to break through." Just 2 minutes. Longao was very confident. Even if the 8 of them worked together, their power was incomparable. However, he wasn't a random person. Even if he couldn't defeat the 8 of them, holding on for a few minutes was more than enough. "Little you still don't want to give up. I have already said that we will come once you reach the God Emperor realm. We will come once a month. You really don't want to give up." At this moment, 2 young men walked over. They were Dongfang Yu's 2 cousins, Dongfang Jueqing and Dongfang Yun. Between the 2 of them, Dongfang Yun had deep feelings for Dongfang Yu. Only Dongfang Jueqing didn't like women. P.S. The 12th chapter has been delivered. That's all for today. We will continue tomorrow. Around midnight, Little 9 will update a few chapters. I hope everyone can vote. Chapter 1568. Not only that, Dongfang Yu and Dongfang Jueqing were not on good terms. In the end, Dongfang Jueqing was jealous of Dongfang Yu's talent and potential. In the Dark Tribe, Dongfang Yu was the number 1 genius, while Dongfang Jueqing was only number 2. However, due to Dongfang Yu's status and the fact that she had many suitors, Dongfang Jueqing did not dare to say anything. Dongfang Jueqing and Dongfang Yun's cultivation had reached the Emperor God realm. Among the younger generation of the Dark Tribe, they were considered the 2 strongest. Dongfang Jueqing was especially powerful. In other words, Dongfang Jueqing was known as the number 1 under the Nirvana realm in the Dark Tribe. "Brother, Xiao Yu. Shut up." Dongfang Jueqing was quite nice to Dongfang Yun, although they were only cousins. "Xiao Yun, this time you have to help me get the Dark Hand. If you wait for Xiao Yu, who knows how long it will take." Dongfang Jueqing's expression was extremely ugly. Mph Dongfang Jueqing snorted heavily. Dongfang Yu was unhappy and said with disdain, "Dongfang Jueqing, how many years have you been cultivating?" "How many years have I been cultivating? It won't take long. I will definitely get the Dark Hand today." "Really?" Dongfang Jueqing did not believe it. Not only him, even Dongfang Yun would not believe it. A God King wanted to force his way through the combined might of 8 protectors and reach the Darkness Pavilion. Was that true? Then I will wait and see. Dongfang Jueqing looked at Dongfang Yun and said, "Let's go." The 2 of them did not hesitate and stepped into the training ground. As soon as they stepped in, 8 people appeared around them. They were all dressed in grey. They were tall and short, fat and skinny. However, their expressions were the same, cold and emotionless. "Grandpas, please." The 8 of them nodded with admiration. It seemed like they thought highly of Dongfang Jueqing. "Let's go." Dongfang Jueqing knew that if he wanted to get the Dark Hand, there was only one way, and that was to break through. It was almost impossible to defeat the 8 guardians. There was only one way, and that was to borrow Dongfang Yun's strength to trap the 8 of them and break through. The probability was only 30%. Even so, Dongfang Jueqing was not willing to give up. He wanted to give it a try. Since he would not lose his life if he failed, there was no harm in trying a few more times. Dongfang Jueqing's wishful thinking was not bad, but he still underestimated the power of the 8 of them. Although Dongfang Yun was also a God Emperor, the gap between him and the 8 of them was too big. Not to mention 1 against 8, even in a one-on-one situation, Dongfang Yun might not be able to last more than 3 moves. The speed was too fast. The 8 of them didn't join hands at all. One of them was fighting Dongfang Yun, while the other 7 joined hands to attack Dongfang Jueqing. The 8 of them were not fools. They knew that the main character this time was not Dongfang Yun, but Dongfang Jueqing. Boom! With a loud bang, Dongfang Yun's body flew out like a kite with a broken string. Dongfang Yu steadily received Dongfang Yun's attack. The 2 of them knew very well that the 8 protectors had shown mercy this time. Otherwise, Dongfang Yun would have died many times over. Dongfang Yun sighed and said, The 8 grandfathers are getting stronger and stronger. They have already reached the peak divine emperor realm. If they have the opportunity to break through together, our dark tribe will have 8 more Nirvana realm warriors. Longao was also surprised. Longao of course watched the battle between Dongfang Yun and the 8 of them carefully. The 8 of them had all reached the peak divine emperor realm. Even when the 8 of them joined hands, he still didn't know how powerful they were. However, one of them had defeated Dongfang Yun in 2 moves. One could imagine how powerful the 8 of them were. With Dongfang Yun's defeat, Dongfang Jueqing was left alone. How could he resist the 8 of them? In less than 10 moves, Dongfang Jueqing was defeated. Many thanks to the 8 grandfathers for showing mercy. Jueqing, you're really good. You'll be able to break through in at most 3 years. 3 years was neither too long nor too short for a warrior. Dongfang Jueqing was overjoyed when he heard the words of his 8 grandfathers. At the same time, he was also extremely excited. He wished that 3 years would pass in the blink of an eye. Then, he would be able to obtain the Hand of Darkness and increase his strength. He might even be able to reach the Nirvana realm. The 8 of them disappeared and the martial arts field returned to normal. Under normal circumstances, no one would try to break through because even Dongfang Jueqing couldn't do it. How many people in the Dark Tribe could do it? Failed again. If I were you, I wouldn't come here again. Dongfang Yu was unconvinced. However, she knew that Dongfang Jueqing's strength was not to be underestimated. Since the 8 grandfathers had said so, there was no doubt that Dongfang Jueqing's chances of breaking through would increase greatly. Ha ha ha, little you, don't be unconvinced. I'll succeed in 3 years. From now on, I'll go into seclusion and try my best. However, before that, I'd like to see how you're going to break through. Disdain and disbelief were written all over their faces. Even the 2 of them couldn't break through, let alone a puny divine king. If Dongfang Yu could break through, it would be impossible unless the sun rose from the west. Black Wolf, let's do it. Hold on, Black Wolf. Who are you? Dongfang Jueqing was a little surprised because he knew that Dongfang Yu had asked this man to help her. He knew almost all the experts in the Dark Tribe, but he had never seen this man before. Who I am has nothing to do with you. Longao didn't like Dongfang Jueqing. It was normal for him to be arrogant. However, Dongfang Jueqing's arrogance was a little disgusting. Therefore, Longao wouldn't give him any face. Ha ha ha, kid, you're really arrogant. Do you know who I am? Who you are has nothing to do with me. Seeing Dongfang Jueqing's arrogance again and again, no matter how good his temper was, he couldn't hold it in any longer. Angered, Dongfang Jueqing sneered and said, Kid, you're right. It doesn't matter who you are, and it doesn't matter who I am. However, there's something very important. If you dare to challenge me, I'll make you regret being born. As soon as he finished speaking, Dongfang Jueqing took a big stride forward. Before he arrived, his terrifying level 4 divine domain had already enveloped him. Dongfang Jueqing, how dare you? Dongfang Yu was shocked to see Dongfang Jueqing's sudden attack. She knew very well how strong Dongfang Jueqing was. Chapter 1569. Ha ha ha, why wouldn't I dare? Dongfang Jueqing did not take Dongfang Yu seriously at all. In Dongfang Jueqing's opinion, so what if Dongfang Yu's father was the leader of the tribe of darkness? Black Wolf, be careful. Dongfang Yu was very worried. Although Black Wolf was an emperor god, the gap between them was still too big. Dongfang Yu was only a god king. Under the cover of the level 4 god realm, her speed was slowed down by many times. At this moment, Dongfang Yu could only watch as Dongfang Jueqing attacked Black Wolf. There was nothing she could do. Die. Dongfang Jueqing was very confident in his strength. A small black wolf could only die if he met him. But the result? Longao stood still and looked coldly at Dongfang Jueqing who was attacking him. What was Black Wolf trying to do? Was Black Wolf scared out of his wits? Looking at the motionless Black Wolf, Dongfang Yu, Dongfang Yun, and even Dongfang Jueqing could not figure it out. Scared out of his wits? Seeing this, Dongfang Jueqing was even more disdainful. He clenched his right hand into a fist and punched Longao fiercely. Dead for sure. There was no suspense. No matter who it was, they all thought that Longao was dead for sure. After all, Dongfang Jueqing's strength was there for all to see. Not to mention Hei Lang, even the 8 protectors did not dare to take a punch from Dongfang Jueqing. Too weak. Ah! Looking at Black Wolf, who was unscathed, the 3 of them were dumbfounded. It was as if they had seen a ghost. Impossible, it was completely impossible. Dongfang Jueqing was very confident in his strength. Unless it was a Nirvana realm martial artist, no one could take a punch from him. Could it be that he was a Nirvana realm martial artist? Black Wolf, are you okay? Dongfang Yu was also shocked. She did not know how Black Wolf could take a punch from Dongfang Jueqing. If she did not see it with her own eyes, she would not believe it. Black Wolf, you, Dongfang Jueqing, don't think that you are invincible. I can tell you clearly that you are nothing in my eyes. Hearing this, Dongfang Jueqing's face became even more gloomy and ugly. Until now, Dongfang Jueqing still did not know how the other party had done it. Even a Nirvana realm martial artist shouldn't be able to achieve such a terrifying physical defense. If I want to kill you, I can do it in minutes. You! He was still unwilling to admit defeat. Losing to someone of unknown origin, where would he put his face? Once this matter was spread out, he would be laughed at by the entire Dark Tribe. However, in the next moment, before Dongfang Jueqing could react, the Black Wolf in front of him suddenly disappeared. That's right, right under their noses, Black Wolf disappeared without a trace. What exactly happened? Dongfang Jueqing retreated in shock. He didn't know why, but he had a bad premonition in his heart. The fact that the other party could withstand his attack just now meant that the other party didn't only have a strong physical defense, but his strength was also very strong. Black dots appeared. Then, Longao's body suddenly appeared. With a sneer, he used the Emperor Dragon's 9 consecutive strikes. Not only that, but Longao also used his time Shorekill technique. Time prohibition. The flow of time was locked. Dongfang Jueqing was shocked to find that he couldn't move at all. Could this be the doing of the Black Wolf? He didn't give Dongfang Jueqing any chance to react. 9 consecutive punches. Emperor Dragon's Raging Waves, Emperor Dragon's Heaven Burial, Emperor Dragon's Strangulation, Emperor Dragon's Dominance, Emperor Dragon's Collapse, Emperor Dragon's Meteor Explosion, Emperor Dragon's Heart Devour, Emperor Dragon's Devour, and Emperor Dragon's Destruction. With Longao's strength, using his time Shorekill technique and Emperor Dragon's 9 consecutive strikes, it would be a piece of cake to kill Dongfang Jueqing. However, Longao didn't do so. The reason was simple. In Longao's opinion, the main reason he entered the world of darkness this time was to find the inheritance of darkness and retrieve Yu Yin's soul. As for the other matters, he would endure it if he could and avoid it if he could. For Yu Yin, everything was worth it. Although he didn't know Dongfang Jueqing's identity, Longao was sure that Dongfang Jueqing's identity wasn't simple. If he killed this person, he would be obstructed by the Tribe of Darkness. At that time, it wouldn't be worth it. Although the 9 punches looked powerful, they didn't have any power at all. Dongfang Jueqing, I'll let you know the difference in strength. Like I said before, if I want to kill you, I can do it in a matter of minutes. You won't even have the chance to fight back. Dongfang Jueqing stood there dumbfounded. Until now, he still couldn't believe that his opponent was so strong. As an emperor god, it was impossible for him to be so strong. Dongfang Jueqing had a feeling that standing in front of his opponent was like a baby standing in front of a big man. They weren't on the same level. Get lost. This time, little you will definitely get the Hand of Darkness. Not to mention 3 years, even if it's 30 years, 300 years, or even 3,000 years, you won't have the chance to get the Hand of Darkness. If Longao had said those words just now, Dongfang Jueqing would have snorted in disdain and would not have taken him seriously. But now, good, good, good. Dongfang Jueqing brought Dongfang Yun and left quickly. Only Longao and Dongfang Yu were left. Black Wolf, was that you? Yes, it's me. Fiercely glaring at him, Dongfang Yu unhappily said, "Hey Lang, I really didn't expect you to be so powerful. It seems like you're the strongest person under the Nirvana stage in the Dark Tribe. If I'm not wrong, even if you were in the outside Tianwu continent, no one under the Nirvana stage would be your opponent." As the daughter of the leader of the Tribe of Darkness, Dongfang Yu was very knowledgeable. She had just witnessed the strength of Black Wolf. Unless a Nirvana realm expert was here, no one would be a match for Black Wolf. In the Tribe of Darkness, Dongfang Jueqing was known as the strongest person under the Nirvana realm. Otherwise, Dongfang Jueqing wouldn't be so arrogant. Longao smiled but did not say anything. Could it be that he wanted to tell Dongfang Yu that he was indeed powerful and that he would not put anyone in his eyes except for Nirvana realm warriors? If that was the case, he would be a fool. "You're really strong. I'm afraid no one under the Nirvana realm could be a match for you. Thank you for showing mercy." At this moment, the 8 protectors appeared at the same time. They were all shocked. After all, they had seen the battle just now. Because of that, they didn't have the slightest confidence that they could defeat Yi Shiwen, even if they joined forces. Chapter 1570. You're welcome. Grandfathers, I want to try this time. The 8 of them waved their hands and said helplessly, "There's no need to try. Black Wolf's strength is shocking. Even if the 8 of us join forces, I'm afraid we won't be able to stop Black Wolf. Xiao Yu, the Hand of Darkness is yours." Hearing this, Dongfang Yu was pleasantly surprised. There was no hesitation. Dongfang Yu immediately went to the Dark Pavilion. In a few minutes, she had already obtained the treasure of the Dark Tribe, the so-called Hand of Darkness. "Xiao Yu, you've grown up. Father, you're here." Looking at the 3 people who suddenly appeared, the 8 protectors bowed respectfully at the same time. "8 uncles, you may rise." In the Dark Tribe, there were 2 elders and 8 protectors. They were all cousins. However, the 2 elders had broken through to the Nirvana realm and became the elders of the Dark Tribe. As for the 8 protectors, they were all God Emperors and could only be protectors. However, the Dark Tribe had a rule that no matter who it was, as long as they could break through to the Nirvana realm, they could become elders. "Xiao Yu, congratulations on obtaining the Hand of Darkness." The 2 elders, Dongfang Hua and Dongfang Qin, said with a smile. Looking at the 3 people in front of him, Longao already knew who they were. Dongfang Sheng, Dongfang Yu's father, was also the leader of the Dark Tribe. He was very powerful and had reached the Nirvana realm. As for the 2 elders, they had reached the Nirvana realm. It seemed that Hades's prediction was not accurate. After 10,000 years, the Dark Tribe not only had a Nirvana realm warrior, but also a Nirvana realm warrior. Longao was very clear that with the strength of the Dark Tribe, even if they left the Dark World and went to the Tianwu continent, he believed that they could dominate a second-rate force. "This is Father, his Black Wolf. He has already obtained the Dark Inheritance." This time, he came to the Dark World mainly for the inheritance. He seemed to be surprised. In just a few months, 2 people had already come. Was it so easy to obtain the Dark Inheritance now? "Where are you from?" "The 9 States continent. Since you've already obtained the Dark Inheritance, you're qualified to search for the Dark World's inheritance. However, I have to remind you that search for the inheritance is unpredictable. Even if you die here, you can't blame anyone." Understood. For some reason, Longao felt that the Dongfang Sheng in front of him seemed to be hostile towards him. Could it be that Dongfang Sheng did not welcome him? It shouldn't be possible. According to Hades, the ancestor of the Tribe of Darkness had left behind a will. No matter who it was, as long as they obtained the power of inheritance, they could enter the world of darkness. No one was allowed to interfere. As for whether they could obtain the inheritance, it depended on their luck. "Dad, I have an agreement with Black Wolf." "What agreement?" Dongfang Sheng had always doted on his daughter. It could be said that he was very obedient. But now, Dongfang Sheng's expression was obviously not very good, and his voice was even colder, which really scared Dongfang Yu. Not only Dongfang Yu, But even the 2 elders and the 8 protectors seemed to be a little surprised. They didn't know why the patriarch would do this for no reason. His attitude seemed a little too obvious. Anyone could tell that the clan leader was targeting Black Wolf. Could it be that Black Wolf had offended the clan leader? Father, I have an agreement with Black Wolf. As long as he helps me obtain the Hand of Darkness, I will bring him to the Land of Legacy. Nonsense. Before Dongfang could finish her words, Dongfang Sheng's face was filled with anger as he directly roared. Father! Don't call me father. I don't have a daughter like you. I have already said before that if you want to obtain the Hand of Darkness, you have to rely on your own strength. Not only did you not listen, but you also let an outsider help you. I am very disappointed. It was a bit of a fuss. Patriarch, let's discuss this matter at length. Longao, who had been silent all this time, began to have an ugly expression. Because he could sense that the patriarch of the tribe of darkness was obviously hostile to him, and the hostility was very strong. Longao was a little puzzled. He didn't know when he had offended the patriarch of the tribe of darkness. Patriarch Dongfang, I don't understand. You and I have never met before. Since that's the case, we shouldn't have any grudges. Did I offend you? Longao was very angry because he knew very well that as long as Dongfang Sheng obstructed him, it would be more troublesome for him to find the inheritance of darkness. He was not afraid, but what about Yu Yin? Was he going to let Yu Yin continue to wait? Longao would not let the slightest accident happen. It was precisely because of this that he had to find the inheritance of darkness as soon as possible, and then find Yu Yin's spiritual soul. It was a race against time. You and I have never met before, and you did not offend me. But Black Wolf, let me tell you clearly, there is an aura on your body that makes me very uncomfortable. Although you have obtained the inheritance of darkness, and I cannot stop you from staying here, it is not easy for you to find the inheritance of darkness. This time, Longao was extremely depressed because he couldn't solve the problem that Dongfang Sheng had mentioned. Uncomfortable aura. It was actually his aura that made the other party uncomfortable. What should he do? The 2 elders at the side looked at each other, and seemed to be a little confused. They didn't know what was going on with the patriarch. Black Wolf, the agreement between you and Xiao Yu is cancelled. You are not welcome here, please leave. Since the other party had already asked him to leave, Longao did not continue to stay. After spending some time together, he had a good impression of Xiao Yu, so he did not make things difficult for her and turned to leave. A few minutes later. Father, what's going on? Why are you doing this to Black Wolf? Not only Xiao Yu wanted to ask, but the 2 elders and the 8 protectors also wanted to ask the same question. No matter what, since Black Wolf had obtained the inheritance of darkness, it meant that he was fated to be with the tribe of darkness. If the patriarch insisted on doing this, wouldn't he be going against the will of the ancestors? As the patriarch, I have received the inheritance of the previous patriarch of the tribe of darkness, and I have a mysterious feeling. Just now, I felt an aura that is naturally hostile to us from Black Wolf's body. If this person finds the inheritance of darkness, once he obtains it, I am afraid that our tribe of darkness will be destroyed. He was a little surprised. Patriarch, in the past 10,000 years, including this person, there have been a total of 3 people who came here. The previous 2 people did not succeed in obtaining the inheritance, and I am afraid that this person will also have a hard time obtaining it. In this case, if news of Xiao Yu abandoning the agreement spread out, we will be ridiculed by the tribe. How could Dongfang Sheng not think about this problem? However, as the patriarch of the tribe of darkness, before doing anything, he had to first consider the interests of the tribe of darkness. Chapter 1571. Little Yu, from now on, you are not allowed to leave the house without my permission. Father. Leave. Seeing that her father was really angry, Dongfang Yu did not dare to say anything more. Dongfang Yu left slowly with a face full of displeasure. Patriarch, what should we do now? The 2 elders and 8 protectors finally chose to believe in the patriarch. After all, between the patriarch and Black Wolf, they would definitely choose the patriarch without hesitation, not the Black Wolf. This person is not simple. Let's not act rashly. First, we have to figure out what his aura is. Let's go. Dongfang Hua and Dongfang Qin immediately got up and left. In the dark city, Longao was extremely depressed. He originally thought that by helping Dongfang Yu get the Hand of Darkness, he could find the dark inheritance in the shortest time possible, and then find Yu Yin's divine soul. But what was the result? Dongfang Sheng was not very comfortable with his aura. Such an excuse was a bit too shameless. However, Longao appreciated Dongfang Sheng more. He did not stab him in the back and was straightforward. If he did not like him, he did not like him. If he did not like him, he directly asked him to leave. Mr. Black Wolf, please. Hearing the message, Longao was very surprised. But he did not refuse. According to the direction of the message, Longao entered a small restaurant and sat at a table by the window. Mr. Black Wolf, please sit. The two elders of the Dark Tribe, the so-called two Nirvana Realm warriors. Please. Longao did not have the slightest trace of politeness and directly sat down. May I know what the two of you are looking for me this time? Mr. Heilang, the clan leader, had no choice but to do that. Since you've entered the Dark World, I believe you already know that our Dark Tribe has been sealed for 10,000 years. Until now, no one has been able to break the seal. He nodded. Longao only had a general understanding of the Dark Tribe. As for the specific situation, he did not know much. Did this have anything to do with him? Elders, what did the Dongfang clan leader mean when he said that his aura was uncomfortable? It's not your problem. Then what's the reason? This time, Longao was completely depressed. If it was not his aura that was causing Dongfang Sheng to feel uncomfortable, then what was it that was causing Dongfang Sheng to feel this way? Your Excellency Black Wolf, let's cut to the chase. All right. Longao liked to get straight to the point. He didn't like to dilly-dally, especially those who talked for days and nights without getting to the point. He was even more annoyed. Mr. Black Wolf, do you have a divine beast companion? Yes. They did not hide anything at all, because when the two of them mentioned that they had become companions, Longao had already guessed that this matter had something to do with Long Qiong or Long Ming. No matter if it was Long Qiong or Long Ming, nothing must happen to them. Even if it meant going against the entire Dark Tribe, he would not hesitate. Companions of divine beasts, as the name suggested, were like the relationship between Longao and Long Qiong and Long Ming. That's right. If Mr. Black Wolf agrees, can you let us see your divine beast companion? Things had already come to this point. If he didn't agree, wouldn't it worsen the conflict? No problem. Longao summoned Long Ming from his left arm because he had a feeling that this matter had something to do with Long Ming, and not with Long Qiong. Long Qiong cultivated the power of the Dragon Clan, which was the Great Righteousness, but Long Ming was completely different. He cultivated the power of darkness, the power of destruction, and seemed to be related to the Dark Tribe. Looking at the Netherworld tiger in front of him, Long Ming did not transform into a human at this moment, because in a battle, his strength was many times stronger than when he transformed into Ren Xing as expected. Please tell me the truth. The two elders looked at each other and seemed to see a trace of shock in each other's eyes. The more they acted like this, the more curious Longao was, but he was also sure that this matter had something to do with Long Ming. Mr. Black Wolf, we would like to ask where you got this divine beast companion from. Unintentionally. Longao certainly wouldn't tell them the exact location and how he got it. Of course, the two elders knew. Since the other party didn't want to say more, they didn't ask. Netherworld tiger, but it's a mutated Netherworld tiger, and it's mutated 9 times. Mr. Black Wolf, maybe you don't know, but your divine beast companion is no longer the so-called Netherworld tiger. Then what is it? Longao was a little impatient, because ever since Long Ming started to mutate, he did not know, and even Long Ming himself did not know, what race he was now, but it was definitely not the so-called 9 Hell Earthly Tiger race. Starry Netherworld Tiger. Starry Netherworld Tiger? What race was this? Before Longao could ask, Dongfang Hua asked, I wonder if Mr. Black Wolf knows anything about the Starry Netherworld cultivators? I know a little. That's easy. In that case, it seems that Mr. Blackwolf already knows that the inheritance you are looking for this time, which is the inheritance of our ancestor, is actually a starry sky inheritance, and our ancestor is a starry sky cultivator. Longao already knew about this. Hades had said before that the ancestor of the Dark Tribe was very likely to be a starry netherworld cultivator, which was the so-called peak expert of martial arts. Because of this, Longao was even more curious. He didn't know who could seal the entire Dark Tribe with the strength of a starry netherworld cultivator. Could it be the way of heaven? After all, the way of heaven was the most suspicious. According to the legend left by our ancestor, there is a very powerful divine beast race in the starry sky, which is the starry netherworld tiger. However, this race is very rare, and it's hard to see one in 10,000 years. I really didn't expect that Mr. Blackwolf's companion would be a starry netherworld tiger. Dongfang Hua had just spoken when Dongfang Qin continued, the starry netherworld tiger is a natural-born emperor and a natural-born divine beast of the starry sky. If there is no accident, as long as there is enough time, Mr. Blackwolf's companion will naturally become a starry netherworld tiger and shock the starry sky. F***ck Longao had never expected that Long Ming would become so powerful after the mutation. According to what they said, Long Ming didn't have the slightest bottleneck. As long as there was enough time, it would definitely break through to the starry netherworld realm. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't excited about this. In that case, elders, I really don't understand why Patriarch Dongfang feels uncomfortable with the aura released by Long Ming. Is there a reason? P.S. I'll send 4 chapters first. Xiao Ju will go to sleep first and continue tomorrow. I hope everyone will continue to vote. Xiao Ju thanks. Chapter 1572. Longao was very curious. He did not know what was going on. To tell you the truth, the ancestor of the Dark Tribe had a battle with the starry sky hell tiger, and Dongfang Hua did not continue, as if there was something that was hard to say. Dongfang Qin said helplessly, "What's done is done. Mr. Blackwolf, I believe you have already guessed that our ancestor lost the battle." So that was it. Longao finally knew why Dongfang Sheng hated the aura released by Long Ming. All of this was because the ancestor of the Dark Tribe had once fought against a starry sky nether tiger, and was defeated. It could be said that he was extremely depressed. Longao could not understand. What did the battle between the ancestor of the Dark Tribe and the starry sky hell tiger have to do with Long Ming? In the end, Long Ming was just a mutated divine beast. Strictly speaking, he did not belong to the starry sky hell tiger clan. Taking a step back, even if Long Ming belonged to the starry sky hell tiger clan, this matter had nothing to do with Long Ming. If you want to condemn someone, you can always find a pretext. If you want to condemn someone, you can always find a pretext. Hearing Blackwolf's words, both Dongfang Hua and Dongfang Qin seemed to be a little upset. Because they knew very well that this matter had nothing to do with Blackwolf's companion divine beast. But what could they do if the tribe leader wanted to do this? Could they go against the tribe leader's wishes? It was almost impossible. In the Dark Tribe, no one dared to go against Dongfang Sheng's words, even if they were elders. What does tribe leader Dongfang mean? He will not help you at all. If there is a chance, he will not hesitate to drive you out of the Dark Realm. He was not surprised at all. Longao seemed to have guessed that this would be the case. But he did not expect that the tribe leader of the Dark Tribe would be such a person. It was a little unbelievable. No leeway? Yes. Tell me. Unless it was a last resort, Longao really did not want to completely fall out with the Dark Tribe. After all, this was the territory of the Dark Tribe. Once the war started, he would be the one who would suffer in the end. No matter what, the main reason he entered the Dark Realm was to find the inheritance and take back Yu Yin's soul. As for other matters, he would tolerate them if he could and avoid them if he could. However, Longao had already thought it through. Although he did not want to look for trouble, he was never afraid of trouble. Now that he had entered the world of darkness, he was determined to succeed. No one would be able to stop him. If a human blocked him, he would kill him. If a god blocked him, he would kill a god. Mr. Black Wolf, as long as you make a blood oath, no matter when, you will not attack the tribe of darkness, including your divine beast companion, then there is still a chance. Longao finally understood what the two elders meant. In the end, the two elders were not so kind as to lend him a helping hand. It was nothing more than the tribe of darkness being very afraid of him. Strictly speaking, they were very afraid of his divine beasts, the dark dragon and the starry nether tiger. It was almost impossible for the tribe of darkness to reach the star state, but Long Ming's situation was completely different. No matter what race Long Ming used to be, now that he had mutated into a starry nether tiger, as long as there was enough time, he would definitely reach the star state and become a starry nether tiger. No one knew if Long Ming would avenge his clansmen in the future. The tribe of darkness could not guarantee it either, so they made him make a blood oath. However, there was one thing that Longao did not understand. Why did the tribe of darkness not attack directly? As long as he and Long Ming were dead, the tribe of darkness would have no worries. If you cut the grass without removing the roots, it would grow again when the spring breeze blew. Longao did not believe such a simple reason. The tribe of darkness did not know, Dongfang Sheng did not know, and the two elders did not know. Elders, forgive me for being blunt. Mr. Black Wolf, please go ahead. The two elders were both Nirvana realm warriors, but they were so polite. If others saw this, they would be scared to death. Because in the eyes of Nirvana realm warriors, those below the Nirvana realm were all ants. Elders, since you are so afraid of my divine beast companion, why don't you attack directly and kill the two of us? In this way, I believe the tribe of darkness will have no worries. To tell the truth, since things had come to this point, Longao did not want to dawdle in the slightest, because it was still the territory of the tribe of darkness. Once the tribe of darkness came out to stop them, it would be difficult for him to find the inheritance, let alone take back Yu Yin's divine soul. Mr. Black Wolf, you and I are both smart and straightforward people. In this case, let's get straight to the point. If there is the slightest chance, we will definitely be willing to remove the roots and eliminate all future troubles. When the two of them said that, Longao calmed down instead. Although he did not know why the tribe of darkness did not attack, Longao was very confident that there must be some reason why the tribe of darkness could not attack him and Long Ming. Otherwise, as the two elders just said, as long as there is the slightest chance, they would be willing to remove the roots and eliminate all future troubles. Longao did not speak, because he knew very well that since the two had already said this, they would definitely continue to say. Sure enough. Mr. Black Wolf, when the ancestor died, he had ordered that no matter who it was, as long as they could obtain the dark inheritance, the tribe of darkness would never attack them. Including you, there are a total of 3 people. Unless you take the initiative to attack us in the future, we will not act at will. So that was it. Longao finally understood why the tribe of darkness did not attack them. It turned out that the ancestor of the tribe of darkness had left his last words. Not to mention others, even Dongfang Sheng did not dare to casually violate the ancestor's last words. Hearing this, Longao finally breathed a sigh of relief. In any case, the strength of the tribe of darkness was there. Just the strength of the 3 Nirvana realm warriors was not something he could deal with. Once the battle started, it was still unknown whether he would win or lose, but Longao was very clear that the possibility of him losing was very high. It was not important that he was in danger. What was important was that he must take back Yu Yin's divine soul. He must not let anything happen to Yu Yin. As long as I make a blood oath, can the agreement between me and Dongfang Yu continue? It would be very difficult to find the dark inheritance with his own strength, but with Dongfang Yu's help, it would be very easy. In any case, Dongfang Yu was the young lady of the tribe of darkness, the precious daughter of Dongfang Sheng. The probability of her knowing about the dark inheritance was very high. We can't make this decision. We have to ask the patriarch before we can give you an answer. Chapter 1573. Please. Longao couldn't wait any longer. But at this moment. At the same time, Dongfang Sheng appeared by the window of the restaurant and sat down directly. Patriarch. Uncles, please have a seat. Seeing Dongfang Sheng, Longao didn't get up, and there was no fear on his face. He was full of admiration. Hey Lang, the two elders have already told you what you should say. They want you to swear a blood oath. Are you willing to do so? He smiled. For Yu Yin, let alone a blood oath, even if he had to climb a mountain of swords or plunge into a sea of fire, he wouldn't hesitate. Longao didn't hesitate and immediately began to take a blood oath. Longao, even so, I can't completely trust you. Are you playing with me? No matter how good Longao's temper was, he had to endure for the sake of his voice. But when he heard Dongfang Sheng's words, he couldn't help but be furious. He had already taken a blood oath. Unless he died together with Long Ming, otherwise, no matter what happened in the future, he and Long Ming couldn't deal with the Dark Tribe. And the blood oath was also Dongfang Sheng's request, and he had already fulfilled it. And the result? Black Wolf, don't be impatient. Since you have obtained the inheritance of darkness, then under some circumstances, you have been recognized by the ancestor. You have a higher chance of obtaining the inheritance than others. Inheritance. Longao didn't care about the so-called Starry Sky inheritance at all. First of all, even if he obtained the Starry Sky inheritance, he wouldn't devour and refine it. Otherwise, he would have already devoured and refined Tian Chen's Starry Sky inheritance. Secondly, Longao entered the Dark Tribe this time to save Yu Yin. As for the Starry Sky inheritance, if he couldn't get it, he would take it. However, Longao didn't tell the truth. If he did, it would instantly intensify the conflict. Dongfang Sheng, what do you want? Just say it. He called him by his name. This also showed that Longao was extremely angry at this time. If it weren't for Yu Yin, he would have exploded. Why would he continue to dawdle here? Black Wolf, let's get straight to the point. He thought for a moment. Dongfang Sheng suddenly pointed at Long Ming, who was beside Longao, and said, you have two choices. The first choice is to kill this Starry Sky Hell Tiger on the spot. The second choice is to hand it over to me. Before Longao could speak, Dongfang Sheng continued, as long as you agree, I can bring you into the land of inheritance and do my best to help you obtain the inheritance. The last sentence was nonsense. If Dongfang Sheng had a way to obtain the inheritance, he would have obtained it long ago. Why should he let others benefit from it? Dongfang Sheng had accurately calculated that Black Wolf would not be able to obtain the inheritance. Since the fall of their ancestor, countless people in the Dark Tribe had tried, but no one had ever succeeded. There wasn't the slightest hint of anger. Longao already knew that Dongfang Sheng would not stop until he killed Long Ming. If that was the case, what was the point of saying more meaningless things? If it was any other condition, Longao might have agreed to it. But this was the only condition. Both Long Ming and Long Qiong were his good brothers. Even if he had to die, he would definitely not let anything happen to the two little fellows. With a wave of his hand, Long Ming's figure disappeared and returned to his arm. Longao, you have two choices. Choose one. Dongfang Sheng was full of confidence. Under such circumstances, as long as the other party was not a fool, he would definitely make a choice. No one was not afraid of death. This was the territory of the Dark Tribe, his own territory. The other party was only an emperor god. No matter how powerful he was, it was impossible for him to make waves here. Dongfang Sheng, there is no way to avoid a battle between you and me. Although Longao did not make a choice, since he had said so, his meaning was clear. This battle was not a choice. Hearing this, both Dongfang Sheng and the two elders were a little shocked. They did not know if Black Wolf was out of his mind. How dare he do this? Ignoring the Dark Tribe. Ignoring the three of them. At the same time, a terrifying murderous aura erupted from the three of them. Dongfang Sheng said coldly, Longao, although the old ancestors' last words forbade us to deal with those who have inherited the Dark Tribe, the only exception was to kill the Starry Sky Hell Tiger. I'm giving you one last chance. Hand over the Starry Sky Hell Tiger or kill it. Ha ha ha, Longao laughed and stood up. His face was full of disdain, and a powerful battle intent erupted from his body. He did not want to cause trouble, But he was never afraid of trouble. What was more important was this matter. No matter what happened, he would not give in at all. It was precisely because of this that Longao would not hand over Long Ming, nor would he kill him. Fight. 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 Longao did not have the slightest bit of fear. If other people encountered Nirvana Realm martial artists, especially 3 Nirvana Realm martial artists at the same time, not to mention fighting, they would have already been scared to death. Only Longao had an imposing manner of supremacy, as if the god of death had descended. Courting death. Dongfang Sheng did not attack personally. After all, he was the patriarch of the Dark Tribe. If he attacked rashly, it would be beneath his status. More importantly, there were 2 elders here. Not to mention 2 against 1, even in a one-on-one situation, the 3 of them were confident that they could defeat their opponent in minutes. Dongfang Hua released the Qi of heaven and earth. Before he arrived, his murderous aura had already arrived. The Qi of heaven and earth was not only possessed by Nirvana Realm warriors. Even Longao could release the Qi of heaven and earth. Although they could not be compared, it was almost impossible for Dongfang Hua to use the Qi of heaven and earth to suppress Longao. Qi of heaven and earth. The other party could also release the Qi of heaven and earth. What happened? Soon, the 3 of them realized that something was wrong. Under normal circumstances, only those who had broken through the Nirvana realm could release the Qi of heaven and earth. However, there were always exceptions. Some warriors were extremely talented or had great opportunities. Therefore, even if they could not break through the Nirvana realm, they could still release the Qi of heaven and earth. Longao's talent and strength made the 3 of them feel a sense of crisis. Because of this, the 3 of them told themselves that they must kill their opponent in today's battle. As the battle began, there were countless spectators outside. After all, the patriarch and 2 elders of the Dark Tribe were attacking a god emperor at the same time. This kind of thing had never happened in the past 10,000 years. It was simply unprecedented. Black Wolf, surrender and I can spare your life. He ignored Dongfang Hua. Since the battle had already begun, even if he compromised, he would still be the one to suffer in the end. Rather than that, he might as well fight. Whether he lived or died, it was his own business. Holding the reincarnation sword tightly in his hand, Longao did not wait for Dongfang Hua to get close to him. Author's note: if Little Nine didn't explode, the brothers would scold him every day. Now that Little Nine has completely exploded, no one voted for him. Little Nine is helpless. Brothers who support Little Nine, please cast your recommendation votes and monthly votes. This is the 6th chapter. Chapter 1574. Fight. His fighting spirit soared. No one had expected that Black Wolf's fighting spirit would be so high when facing 3 Nirvana Realm warriors. His fighting spirit was earth-shattering. Looking at Black Wolf, who ignored the 3 of them, Dongfang Sheng clenched his fists tightly. This person must not be left alive. Kill. Longao's cultivation had already broken through to the overturning Emperor God realm. Even if he was not a match for Dongfang Hua, who had comprehended the heavens and earth, it was almost impossible for him to kill Longao. The 2 of them could not do anything to each other. As the battle continued to escalate, Dongfang Hua became more and more shocked and angry. With his strength, he could not kill the other party. Where was his face? Dongfang Sheng's face was also extremely gloomy, and it was as ugly as it could get. Because even Dongfang Sheng had not expected Black Wolf to be so powerful that he could fight against a Nirvana Realm warrior. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would not have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Go! Dongfang Hua killing Black Wolf was a shameful thing. If Dongfang Hua and Dongfang Qin joined forces, even if they killed Black Wolf, they would lose all their face. However, things had already come to this point. Dongfang Sheng could not let Black Wolf live. There was no other choice. Dongfang Qin joined forces with 2 Nirvana Realm warriors to fight against Black Wolf, who was an emperor god. When the crowd saw the situation, other than being shocked, they felt helpless. Even if the 2 elders were on the same side, it was a little shameful. Who was Black Wolf? Why was he so powerful? Even Elder Dongfang Hua could not kill him. If it was a one-on-one battle, Black Wolf might be able to hold on. Now that the two of them had joined forces, could Black Wolf still hold on? Everyone thought that Black Wolf would definitely die if the two elders joined forces. The result was out of everyone's expectations. Black Wolf fought against the two elders. Not only did he not lose immediately, he became more and more courageous. The black divine sword in his hand was constantly waving and the sword light was shining. The two elders seemed to be unable to get close to him. Unbelievable. It was inconceivable. Is this true? Some people even started to rub their eyes because it was common knowledge that the gap between a Nirvana realm martial artist and a God Emperor martial artist was so huge that it was simply an insurmountable gap. Two Nirvana realm martial artists working together to deal with a God Emperor martial artist, there was no need to guess the result. Shock. Shock. Other than shock, there was still more shock. Dongfang Sheng did not move at all. His face was getting gloomier and gloomier. It was as though he had come from hell. Even he had not expected the other party to be this strong. Dongfang Sheng could tell that it was impossible for Black Wolf to kill the two elders with his strength alone. Moreover, it seemed difficult for the two elders to kill Black Wolf. In the realm of the God Emperor, his strength was already enough to contend against a Nirvana realm martial artist. Furthermore, he had already produced his own heaven and earth aura. If the two elders wanted to rely on the heaven and earth aura to suppress Black Wolf, there was only one word to describe it: difficult. Could it be that he had to make a move himself? Dongfang Sheng knew that once he personally made a move, the Dark Tribe would lose all face. Even if outsiders didn't know, what about his own people? Not to mention others, even he himself would not be able to pass this test. If he did not make a move, the two elders would not be able to kill Black Wolf. God knew what would happen. Should he make a move? Or should he not? Longao held the Samsara sword in his hand. Again and again, the Samsara sword light kept resisting the joint attacks of the two Nirvana realm martial artists. Longao was very clear. With his own strength, unless he ran away without fighting, he would definitely be defeated if the battle continued. The biggest reason why he could hold on for so long was because of the Samsara sword in his hand. He had to admit that the Samsara sword was too powerful. However, Longao had not used the Samsara sword skill yet. Otherwise, it was very possible for him to firmly suppress the two Nirvana realm martial artists. As for why Longao did not use the Samsara sword skill, it was because of Dongfang Sheng. Dongfang Sheng had reached the realm of oneness of heaven and men. His strength was far above the two of them. Once his cultivation reached the realm of oneness of heaven and men, he would have condensed his own domain of heaven and earth. Once the Samsara sword light was combined with the Samsara sword skill, it could break the lock of the domain of heaven and earth. Longao did not want Dongfang Sheng to know his trump card in advance, so he had not used the Samsara sword skill. In this way, the battle with the two of them gradually became more and more intense. Damn, why hasn't Dongfang Sheng made a move yet? As the battle dragged on longer and longer, no matter if it was Dongfang Hua or Dongfang Qin, the two of them were furious to the extreme. The two of them were unwilling to believe that with their strength, they were unable to kill their opponent. It was simply impossible. Both of them used all their strength, but even so, Longao was still as steady as Mount Tai. He did not have the slightest intention of being defeated. All of a sudden, the domain of heaven and earth suddenly descended and directly locked on Black Wolf, who was fighting. Sensing the arrival of the domain of heaven and earth, everyone knew that the patriarch Dongfang Sheng had finally made a move. Because the domain of heaven and men could only be used when one's cultivation reached the realm of oneness of heaven and men. Shame. Endless shame. In the Dark Tribe, besides the moment when they were sealed, this was the most humiliating moment. Because of a mere emperor god, not only did they mobilize the two elders, but also the patriarch personally made a move. If this was not a shame, then what was? The crowd outside looked at each other and saw a trace of shock and helplessness in each other's eyes. But more than that, they were ashamed. Even if the patriarch personally made a move to defeat the opponent, such a victory was not honorable. Sighs rose and fell one after another. Hearing the continuous sighs from the people outside, both Dongfang Sheng and the two elders' faces turned ugly. But things had already come to this point. The only thing the three of them could do was to kill Black Wolf as soon as possible. Only in this way could they minimize the shame. With the lock of the domain of heaven and earth, killing Black Wolf was a matter of certainty. The three of them, 3 Nirvana realm warriors, joined forces to deal with an emperor god. For so many years, it seemed that this had never happened before. Longao could be said to be the first of his kind in history. Whether he won or lost this battle, Longao would be proud of it. The three of them did not intend to let Longao off with their strongest attack. Since Black Wolf was already enveloped by the domain of heaven and earth, the three of them would definitely go all out to kill him, not giving him the slightest chance. Everyone agreed that Black Wolf would definitely die, including the three of them. After all, with the lock of the domain of heaven and earth, not to mention an emperor god, even those who had comprehended the domain of heaven and earth would not be able to break free. But the result? Chapter 1575. A shocking scene ensued. Just when everyone thought that Black Wolf would definitely die, the black divine sword in Black Wolf's hand suddenly moved. Samsara sword. Samsara sword skill. The two combined and streaks of Samsara sword light shot out quickly. The domain of heaven and earth was instantly broken by the Samsara sword light. Ah! Sensing that his domain of heaven and earth was broken, Dongfang Sheng was extremely shocked because he never thought that a small emperor god warrior could break through his domain of heaven and earth. If he didn't see it with his own eyes, who would believe it? Unbelievable. It was inconceivable. Patriarch. The two elders were also shocked. Until now, they finally knew the terrifying strength of Black Wolf. He was too powerful, too powerful. Black Wolf's situation completely broke their understanding. Although Black Wolf was only in the Emperor God realm, his strength seemed to be inferior to the two of them. Kill. Black Wolf's powerful strength deeply shocked Dongfang Sheng. The more it was so, the more Dongfang Sheng would not let it go. There was only one result, that was to eliminate the root of the problem and eliminate all future troubles. The two of them also knew the seriousness of the matter. Without any hesitation, they immediately continued to attack. The three of them joined forces and attacked Longao from different directions. Samsara sword light was extremely powerful and could even break through the domain of heaven and earth and the forbidden power released by the Starry Sky Warriors. However, it could not defeat the three of them. The difference in realm could not be compensated by other things. Regarding this point, Longao was also clear about it. Let's go. Continuing to fight with force would not do him any good. The best solution now was to leave this place first. As for the inheritance of darkness, he would think of another way in the future. Without the interference of space fluctuations, Longao used spatial teleportation. After a few teleportations, he disappeared without a trace. Disappeared? Looking at Black Wolf who had left, everyone was dumbfounded. What on earth happened just now? Patriarch. Waving his hand, Dongfang Sheng said in an extremely cold voice, although this person can break through my domain of heaven and earth with the help of a powerful divine weapon, his strength is not our match. Otherwise, he would not have run away. Nodding, the two of them agreed with the Patriarch's words. If Black Wolf was really that powerful, then there was no need for him to run. However, Dongfang Hua still said in a serious tone, Patriarch, Black Wolf's talent and strength are too terrifying. According to his talent, breaking through to the Nirvana realm is only a matter of time. At that time, I'm afraid that it will be very difficult for us to deal with him. It would be a lie if he said that he wasn't afraid. The talent and strength that Black Wolf displayed was obvious to all. He was only in the Emperor God realm and he was already so strong. If he broke through to the Nirvana realm, wouldn't the three of them be no match for Black Wolf even if they joined forces? This time, they failed to kill the Black Wolf and lost a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The world of darkness was boundless. Trying to find a trace of a person in the world of darkness was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. It was like finding a needle in the ocean. How could Dongfang Sheng not understand the intentions of the two elders? Pass down my order. Lock down the Dark City. Anyone from the Dark Tribe who sees Black Wolf is to be killed without mercy. Those who disobey will be expelled from the Dark Tribe. Those who seriously disobey will be killed without mercy. The patriarch was really angry. Dongfang Hua and Dongfang Qin immediately left. In the next second, the Dark City was locked down. Moreover, the Dark Tribe sent out all the Emperor God warriors to guard the city gate. As for Dongfang Jueqing, he was the leader this time. Black Wolf, no matter who you are, I want you dead and your companion Divine Beast dead. Clenching his fists tightly, Dongfang Sheng did not seem to have reacted until now. Black Wolf was a variable. The news of Black Wolf's battle with the three Nirvana Realm warriors had spread throughout the Dark Tribe. Although Black Wolf escaped in the end, the Dark Tribe still lost. But one had to know. Black Wolf was only an Emperor God warrior, while the Patriarch and the two elders were genuine Nirvana Realm warriors. Moreover, it was 3 against 1. This was already very shameless. In the end, they still did not succeed in killing Black Wolf. Everyone who heard the news could not believe it. Black Wolf's name was known in the Dark City. At this moment, everyone in the Dark City knew about Black Wolf. To be able to fight against the 3 Nirvana Realm warriors of the Dark Tribe, this person's strength and talent had already explained everything. Respect. Although everyone knew that Black Wolf was the enemy of the Dark Tribe, to be able to do this, Black Wolf deserved everyone's respect. In the Dark Tribe's headquarters. In a courtyard with an extremely beautiful and elegant environment. Dongfang Yu also received the news. Indeed, Dongfang Yu was very surprised by Black Wolf's strength. More than that, she felt helpless. She did not know why her father and Black Wolf would fight for no reason. Under normal circumstances, since Black Wolf had already obtained the Dark Inheritance, even if he could not become a friend of the Dark Tribe, at least her father should not interfere. No matter what, the old ancestors' last words were there. No matter who it was, even her father, the Patriarch of the Dark Tribe, could go against it. Dongfang Yu. Looking at the figure that suddenly appeared in front of her, Dongfang Yu was shocked. Because she never thought that Black Wolf would dare to show up at this time. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Black Wolf, is it really you? Yes. After a day of rain, Dongfang Yu kept retreating, as if she was afraid of something. Seeing this, Longao sighed deeply in his heart and said helplessly, I originally thought that regardless of the grudge between me and the Dark Tribe, you and I would be friends. Now, it seems that I was wrong. No matter what you are, I have always treated you as a friend. Hearing this, Dongfang Yu's body trembled fiercely. Because just now, she did not treat Black Wolf as a friend, but as an enemy. Black Wolf, her father, and the entire Dark Tribe were fighting. It had already reached the point where it was either you die or I die. What's more, Black Wolf suddenly appeared here. Dongfang Yu thought that Black Wolf was here to kill her, but now that she thought about it, there was something wrong with this matter. If Black Wolf wanted to, why would he wait until now? He could easily kill her at any time. He could fight against 3 Nirvana Realm warriors, let alone her. Black Wolf, I'm sorry. Longao smiled and said, there's nothing to be sorry about, it's just human nature. Our friend is no longer here. I came here this time mainly to ask you to fulfill your promise. His friend was no longer here. Hearing this, Dongfang Yu's face was a little sad because she was very clear that her actions just now had hurt their friendship. P.S. Chapter 8 delivered, thank you brothers for your votes. Little 9, continue your outburst. Go eat first, continue when you come back. Chapter 1576. Promise. Of course, Dongfang Yu knew what Black Wolf was talking about. Back then, they had an agreement. Black Wolf would help Dongfang Yu get the Hand of Darkness, and Dongfang Yu would bring Black Wolf to the Inheritance of Darkness. Without her father's permission, how could she bring an outsider to the Inheritance of Darkness? No matter what, she was still a member of the Tribe of Darkness. Black Wolf, I can't bring you there. Her face turned cold. Like father, like daughter. She went back on her words. It would be a lie to say that she wasn't angry. Longao didn't make a move. Regardless of whether Dongfang Yu treated him as a friend or not, he had indeed treated her as a friend in the past. Heilang, let me give you a piece of advice. You should leave. Longao didn't say anything. Even if you go to the inheritance of darkness, you won't be able to get the inheritance. You don't have to worry about that. Her voice was extremely cold, without a trace of emotion. Her friend wasn't here. I still can't promise you. Without my father's permission, I can't bring you to the inheritance of darkness. I'm sorry for our agreement. Black Wolf, I'll always be a member of the tribe of darkness. She turned around and left without saying anything else. Black Wolf. Dongfang Yu, we're no longer friends. The next time we meet, we'll fight to the death. Dongfang Yu's face changed again and again as she watched the figure gradually disappear. Although she felt a little strange about Black Wolf, between the tribe and Black Wolf, Dongfang Yu still chose the tribe over Black Wolf. Longao had just disappeared not long ago. Dongfang Sheng and the other two figures suddenly appeared. Little Yu, let me ask you. Did Black Wolf come here just now? The Dark City had been sealed and no one could leave. But even so, if Black Wolf really wanted to hide, it wouldn't be easy to find Black Wolf. Dongfang Sheng was indeed the patriarch of the tribe of darkness. In an instant, he had already guessed that Black Wolf might come to look for his daughter in order to find the inheritance of darkness. Seeing their daughter nodding her head, the faces of the three men darkened. Sure enough, it seemed that the three of them had guessed correctly. However, looking at the situation, the three of them seemed to have arrived a little late. Xiao Yu, what happened? He couldn't wait any longer. With Black Wolf leaving this time, who knew when he would be able to find Black Wolf's whereabouts? Dongfang Yu did not hide anything and gave a rough account of what had just happened. My friend isn't here. The three of them scoffed. Black Wolf had a divine beast like the starry sky hell tiger as his companion. He was destined to be the enemy of the tribe of darkness. How could they become friends? Father, what exactly happened? Why do you insist on dealing with Black Wolf? Since things had come to this point, Dongfang Sheng did not intend to continue hiding it. After hearing this, Dongfang Yu didn't say anything because she didn't know what to say at this time. The starry sky hell tiger was the ancestors' sworn enemy. Dongfang Yu knew very well that Black Wolf would never be friends with her. Still, she would always be a member of the tribe of darkness. Father, Black Wolf came to me this time mainly because of the ancestors' inheritance. Although I don't know why, I have a feeling that Black Wolf will not leave this time until he gets the ancestors' inheritance. Xiao Yu, what are you trying to say? Father, you can divide into two teams. Not only do you have to guard the city gate, but you also have to guard the inheritance. In this way, even if Black Wolf has 3 heads and 6 arms, he won't be able to escape. She seemed a little surprised. Dongfang Sheng thought for a moment and said, Xiao Yu, aren't you friends with Black Wolf? In an instant, Dongfang Yu already knew what her father meant. After thinking for a moment, Dongfang Yu said, Father, although I am friends with him, I always remember that I am a member of the tribe of darkness. Since Black Wolf has the ancestors' sworn enemy, the starry sky hell tiger, then he and I are irreconcilable. He was very impressed. You're here. After saying that, Dongfang Sheng brought the 2 elders with him and left Dongfang Yu's courtyard. The tribe of darkness, the main hall. Tribe leader, we still can't find any trace of Black Wolf. We can be sure that Black Wolf still hasn't left the Dark City. It's just that we don't know where he's hiding. Dongfang Hua's expression was helpless. Such a thing had never happened in 10,000 years. Let alone the tribe of darkness, no power on the martial heaven continent had ever encountered such a thing. A mere god-emperor had caused such a commotion. How could the tribe of darkness have any face left? Dongfang Sheng's group of 3 had no idea what Black Wolf was doing outside. No one would believe that he had been able to fight against 3 superpowers and escape unscathed. Dongfang Sheng's expression was also very gloomy. He hadn't expected that even now, they still couldn't find any trace of Black Wolf. This was a great loss of face. In Dongfang Sheng's eyes, face was a small matter. If Black Wolf left with the starry sky nether tiger, how would he explain it to the ancestor? Back then, the ancestor had personally said that if he saw the starry sky nether tiger, he was to kill it without mercy. Dongfang Sheng was very clear that Black Wolf's companion was only a god emperor. Once it broke through to the starry sky realm, even if it was only a nirvana realm expert, no one in the tribe of darkness would be a match for it. At that time, let alone killing Black Wolf and the starry sky nether tiger, the tribe of darkness would probably be slaughtered by the starry sky nether tiger. No matter what happened, they had to find the whereabouts of the starry sky nether tiger and Black Wolf as quickly as possible. They couldn't let them leave the tribe of darkness safely. Uncles, keep looking. If you can't find them, I'll ask the ancestors' star god to come out of seclusion. With the ancestors' help, Black Wolf won't be able to leave the Dark City. Both Dongfang Hua and Dongfang Qin were extremely shocked when they heard the patriarch's words. No matter what happened in the past 10,000 years, they hadn't disturbed the ancestor. After all, the ancestor was the foundation of the tribe of darkness. Whether they could break the seal and leave this damned place depended on whether the ancestor could recover. As if he could read their minds, Dongfang Sheng said helplessly, if it was just Black Wolf alone, there would be no need to disturb the ancestor. But now that the starry sky nether tiger has appeared, it might be able to help the ancestor recover. What else could Dongfang Hua and Dongfang Qin say? After all, the patriarch was the most powerful person in the tribe of darkness. Even as elders, they had no right to interfere with the patriarch's decision. Chapter 1577. Star God. After breaking through the starry sky realm and becoming a starry sky cultivator, the primordial spirit in his body would slowly communicate with the power of the stars and transform into a star god. There were 4 major realms for martial artists: soul, divine soul, primordial spirit, and star god. Back then, the ancestor of the dark tribe had died and his physical body was destroyed, but his star god remained. However, the star god of darkness was weak now. Not to mention starry sky cultivators, even ordinary martial artists could easily deal with him. Because of this, for so many years, the dark tribe had not dared to casually appear. In a sealed valley, black fog lingered around, covering the sky and the sun, giving people a gloomy feeling. Dongfang Sheng greets the ancestor. What's the matter? A faint voice came from the valley. It was the voice of the ancestor of the dark tribe, the dark starry sky cultivator. Ancestor, we saw the starry sky nether tiger. As soon as Dongfang Sheng finished speaking, a black figure flashed. Ancestor. Speak, what exactly happened? The black figure that had just appeared was the ancestor of the dark tribe, the star god of the dark starry sky cultivator. Not daring to hide anything, Dongfang Sheng recounted everything that had happened in full detail, leaving nothing out. After hearing the story, the starry sky nether tiger is only at the god emperor realm. If I devour the divine soul I obtained before and the starry sky nether tiger's divine soul, my star god will recover at least half. Ha 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 ha. Suddenly, the dark tribe looked up to the sky and laughed crazily. His laughter was filled with endless expectation and vicissitudes. Where are they? Ancestor, even now, we still can't pinpoint the exact location of the Black Wolf and the starry sky nether tiger, so I boldly ask you to personally locate them. We will deal with them. No problem. Back then, the dark tribe had been injured by the starry sky nether tiger. However, the dark tribe had never imagined that the starry sky nether tiger would appear in the small Tianwu continent. If Dongfang Sheng hadn't said it himself, he would never have believed it. The dark tribe had been very excited when he had captured Yu Yin's divine soul. Now that he had found the starry sky nether tiger, he was pleasantly surprised and excited to the extreme. Without the slightest hesitation, the dark immediately released his star god power and connected with the dark world. The next second, Dark City. After obtaining Black Wolf's exact location, Dongfang Sheng didn't dare to hesitate. He immediately led the 2 elders to the Dark City. Dark City. The most dangerous place was the safest place. Longao lived in a small restaurant. He knew very well that as long as he did not go out, It was almost impossible for Dongfang Sheng to find him. Longao felt his soul being swept by a terrifying aura. What happened? Longao was shocked. He was very clear about the sensation of his soul. If he was not mistaken, someone was using their soul or Yuan divinity to scan the Dark City. Who was it? 5 stages of Nirvana. Only by breaking through the Nirvana fate tribulation could one transform their soul into a primordial spirit. Among the tens of thousands of people in the Dark Tribe, only Dongfang Sheng and the other 2 had reached the Nirvana realm. None of them had reached the Nirvana realm. Since that was the case, who could it be? From the beginning to the end, Longao never thought that this was the doing of the Dark Tribe's old ancestor. If he knew, who knew what Longao would think? But one had to know. The old ancestor of the Dark Tribe, was a genuine peak martial artist, the so-called Starry Sky Cultivator. Although Longao didn't know what level of Starry Sky Cultivator this old ancestor of the Dark Tribe was, but in any case, the strength of a Starry Sky Cultivator was there. Longao, just now the Star God power was scanning your existence. Mind power? What was the mind power? Longao didn't know that the so-called mind power was an existence above the primordial spirit. It was also the soul of a Starry Sky Cultivator, but it was many times stronger than the primordial spirit. Longao, the power of the mind is possessed by the Starry Sky Cultivators. According to my guess, if there is no accident, the Starry Sky Cultivator of the Dark Tribe didn't really die. It's just that his physical body died, and his star god is still alive, but he was seriously injured. So that was it. Longao was shocked to the extreme, because according to Hades, the old ancestor of the Dark Tribe had died. Now Xiling told him that the old ancestor of the Dark Tribe didn't die, only his physical body died, and the star god was still alive. This was a big trouble. It was precisely because of this that Longao finally confirmed that the person who held Yu Yin's soul seemed to be the old ancestor of the Dark Tribe. The old ancestor of the Dark Tribe didn't really die. This was a big trouble. Without Xiling saying more, Longao was almost sure that he had been sensed by the old ancestor of the Dark Tribe. If he continued to stay, he was afraid that only a dead end would await him. Go! Once he stayed a little longer, he would be in more danger. It was not that Longao was afraid of danger. After all, the main purpose of entering the Dark World this time was to take back Yu Yin's soul. As for other dangers, he would avoid them as much as possible. What's more, for the Dark City, he was just a passerby. No matter what grievances he had with the Dark Tribe, as long as he left the Dark City, all the grievances would be written off. In any case, the Dark Tribe was sealed in the Dark World and couldn't leave. As long as he left, even if the old ancestor of the Dark Tribe didn't die, they couldn't break the seal and leave the Dark World. As soon as he thought of this, he left. However, just as Longao was about to leave, a wild laughter sounded. Then, 3 people appeared at the same time. It was the patriarch of the Dark Tribe, Dongfang Sheng, and the 2 elders, Dongfang Hua and Dongfang Qin. The 3 Rebirth Realm martial artists all looked at Hei Lang before them. Because just a few days ago, Hei Lang had suddenly vanished right under their noses. Up until now, the 3 of them still hadn't figured out exactly how Hei Lang had done it. However, Dongfang Sheng guessed a possibility. It was very likely that Hei Lang had been able to vanish from right under his nose because he possessed a spatial artifact that could help Hei Lang leave instantly. Because of this, the 3 of them came prepared this time. If the other party really had a space artifact, then the 3 of them only needed to interfere with the spatial fluctuations and it wouldn't be easy for the other party to leave. The 3 of them were very clear that this was just a gamble. If the other party didn't have a space artifact, then even if the 3 of them interfered with the spatial fluctuations, the other party would still be able to leave smoothly. Chapter 1578. Gamble. If he gambled correctly, then Black Wolf would be dreaming if he wanted to leave this time. But if he lost, it would be difficult to trap Black Wolf. Black Wolf, I'll give you one last chance. Hand over the Starry Sky Hell Tiger, and not only will I spare your life, you can even go to the land of inheritance. As long as they got the starry sky hell tiger, they didn't care whether Black Wolf died or not. In fact, the three of them weren't sure whether Black Wolf had a spatial artifact or not. What if he did? Taking a step back. Even if Black Wolf did have a spatial artifact, they had to deal with the starry sky hell tiger first, and then deal with Black Wolf alone. How could Longao not know what the three of them were thinking? He sneered. Trash. Black Wolf, how dare you insult us? You three are really shameless. I don't have time to play with you here. As soon as he finished speaking, Longao prepared to use spatial teleportation to leave. The result? Longao was shocked to find that he couldn't use spatial teleportation. Didn't this mean that the three of them had interfered with the spatial fluctuations? Since he couldn't use spatial teleportation, then he couldn't enter the dragon seal space. If this was the case, things would be troublesome. Ha ha ha, Black Wolf, you really do have a spatial artifact, but it's useless now. Seeing this, the three of them were pleasantly surprised. After all, their guess was right. Without the help of a spatial artifact, how could Black Wolf resist the power of the three of them? Spatial artifact? Longao was a little surprised. Thinking about it, he knew that the three of them must have thought that his spatial teleportation was a spatial artifact. Kill. Having succeeded in stopping Black Wolf from leaving, the three of them were delighted. Dongfang Sheng ordered. Behind him, Dongfang Hua and Dongfang Qin took a big step forward and rushed up. 1 against 2. Although he was very confident in his own strength, it was simply a fool's dream to think that he could defeat the two elders by himself. The battle had just begun. In less than 30 moves, Longao had already been defeated. Even with the help of the Samsara sword, it was not a long-term solution. If this continued, he would definitely be defeated. Reincarnation doppelganger. Without any hesitation, he could only use the power of the reincarnation avatar under such circumstances. The reincarnation avatar's cultivation had also reached the peak God Emperor realm. With his own strength, he wasn't afraid of Nirvana realm experts. Just the reincarnation avatar's immortal body alone could not break through the physical defense of the reincarnation avatar, let alone comprehend the heaven and earth. In addition to the defensive power, the attack power of the reincarnation avatar was also not a problem. Longao withdrew from the battle. The reincarnation avatar was fighting 1 against 2. Even so, the reincarnation avatar did not show any signs of being defeated. Instead, it began to gradually suppress the two. As the battle continued to escalate, neither side could do anything to the other. He sneered in his heart. Let me show you the true strength of the reincarnation avatar. Just as the battle was reaching its climax, the reincarnation avatar suddenly stopped the battle and remained motionless, allowing the two elders to continuously attack him. Punch after punch, there were endless fist shadows. No matter how the fist shadows landed on the reincarnation avatar, the reincarnation avatar remained motionless, ignoring the attacks of the two Nirvana realm experts. What had happened? After the last punch, the two elders retreated and looked at the other Black Wolf in shock. Their faces were filled with disbelief. Black Wolf, why are there two Black Wolves? Not to mention the two elders, even Dongfang Sheng was shocked. The three of them had never expected that there would be an additional Black Wolf in front of them. Moreover, the Black Wolf's strength was getting stronger. Especially his defensive power, it was even more terrifying. Aren't you very powerful? I'll give you a chance. As long as you can hurt me, I'll give Longming to you. Longao was very confident in the reincarnation avatar. Putting strength aside, just the defensive power alone would make it difficult for Dongfang Hua and Dongfang Qin to break the reincarnation avatar's defense, unless Dongfang Sheng attacked in person. Even so, Longao was fully confident that he could escape unscathed. His face was extremely gloomy. At this moment, Black Wolf, what a reincarnation avatar. As soon as his voice fell, a bolt of lightning flashed and a man in black suddenly appeared. Looking at the black-robed man who appeared in front of him, Longao did not need to guess. He already knew who this person was. If there was no accident, he must be the ancestor of the unfallen darkness, the so-called starry sky cultivator. Until this moment, Longao was still not sure what level of Starry Sky Cultivator the ancestor of Endless Darkness was. Level 6 Starry Sky Cultivator. Hearing Xiling's spiritual sense sound transmission, Longao was shocked because he never thought that the darkness in front of him, the ancestor of the Endless Darkness, would be a level 6 Starry Sky Cultivator. If it were not for Xiling's spiritual sense sound transmission, he would not have believed it even if he was beaten to death. There were 9 levels of Starry Sky Cultivators, namely Level 1 Starry Sky Cultivator, Level 2 Starry Sky Cultivator, Level 3 Starry Sky Cultivator, Level 4 Starry Sky Cultivator, Level 5 Starry Sky Cultivator, Level 6 Starry Sky Cultivator, Level 7 Starry Sky Cultivator, Level 8 Starry Sky Cultivator, and Level 9 Starry Sky Cultivator. According to Xiling, once a Starry Sky Cultivator reached the Level 6 Starry Sky realm, he would be reborn and his strength would increase exponentially. Because of this, Longao was very surprised that Darkness was a Level 6 Starry Sky Cultivator. "You're Darkness. You know me. Good, very good. A Level 6 Starry Sky Cultivator, it's really hard to imagine. With your strength, who destroyed your body and sealed you here? Was it the Heavenly Tao?" Longao was very clear in his heart that in the Tianwu continent, even 10,000 years ago, cultivators above the 7th level of the Starry Sky were very rare. With the strength of the Dark Starry Sky's cultivators, if they wanted to kill you and seal you here, they would have to be at the 7th level of the Starry Sky or above. The most likely possibility was a Heavenly Tao Starry Sky cultivator. After all, the Heavenly Tao had killed all the Starry Sky cultivators of the Tianwu continent in order to eliminate the root of the problem. Longao had always believed in his own guesses and feelings. "You can actually sense my strength. Black Wolf, who are you?" Darkness, who had been full of confidence just a moment ago, now had a slight change in his expression. Although he was only a star god, even a grade 5 Starry Sky cultivator would find it difficult to sense his strength. The person in front of him was just a puny god emperor. Darkness couldn't figure out how the other party could sense his strength. Did the other party come prepared? Chapter 1579. Seeing that Black Wolf did not speak, Darkness sneered. "Black Wolf, hand over the Starry Sky Hell Tiger and I'll let you go." It was the same sentence again. Every time Longao heard it, he would feel a deep sense of helplessness and even more annoyance. "What if I don't hand it over? You'll die." Without the slightest fear, Longao said very indifferently, "Darkness, although you're a level 6 Starry Sky cultivator, you're only a star god now. If my guess is right, you can't even reach Nirvana rebirth with your star god strength." Hearing this, Darkness's face changed instantly. Sure enough. Longao was not 100% sure, but when he saw Black Wolf's expression, he was sure that his guess was right. "If you make a mistake, you'll be consigned to eternal damnation." The calmer and more confident Longao was, the more unsure Darkness was. The other party could see through his strength at a glance, and the strength of his mind now, which made Darkness very afraid. What if? It was better to be safe than sorry. If he was in his heyday, Darkness would not be afraid at all. But now, he was only a star god, and the strength of a star god could not even compete with a Nirvana rebirth warrior. Once there was an accident, just as the other party said, he would be consigned to eternal damnation. Should he attack? Or not? For a moment, Darkness did not know what to do. A Starry Sky cultivator and 3 Nirvana rebirth warriors were intimidated by an emperor god. If this news spread, who knew if people would choose to believe it? Not to mention Starry Sky cultivators, the gap between an emperor god and a Nirvana rebirth warrior was huge, like the gap between a baby and a big man. "Are you afraid?" Longao's face was full of disdain and contempt as he said sarcastically. He glared fiercely at the 3 people around him. Trash. The 3 of them were shocked. Of course, they knew what their ancestor meant. Dongfang Sheng and the other 2 were extremely depressed. After all, such a thing had never happened in 10,000 years. "Ancestor, leave it to us." He waved his hand. Darkness looked at the reincarnation doppelganger beside Black Wolf and said, I really didn't expect you to be able to create such a powerful doppelganger with your strength. It seems like your identity is not simple. Longao simply smiled and said nothing. Reincarnation doppelganger, not to mention ordinary martial artists, Longao was almost certain that even starry sky cultivators might not be able to refine their own doppelganger. His reincarnation avatar had already broken through to the peak God-Emperor realm, and his strength was comparable to a Nirvana realm martial artist who had comprehended the heaven and earth. If you want to fight, then fight. If you don't, then scram. This battle was unavoidable. Since that was the case, there was no need to speak any more nonsense. After all this nonsense, there was still a great battle to be fought. Longao's arrogance and confidence caught the four of them off guard. They looked at the old ancestor beside them. After all, the old ancestor had the upper hand in this battle. If the ancestor wanted to fight, he would fight. If the ancestor didn't want to fight, he wouldn't fight. Black Wolf, I bet you're just bluffing. Do you believe me? Longao didn't speak. There was no expression on his face, but his heart was heavy. Because he knew very well that with his strength alone, even with the help of the reincarnation doppelganger, he was no match for the four of them. 3 Nirvana realm martial artists and 1 starry sky cultivator. Once the four of them joined forces, their power could be imagined. Kill him. Without waiting any longer, Darkness ordered. Dongfang Hua and Dongfang Qin, who were on the left and right, quickly moved out. One on the left and the other on the right, the two of them began to besiege Longao. Not only that, Dongfang Sheng didn't continue to watch the battle. Instead, he attacked personally. A terrifying domain of heaven and earth erupted from his body, rolling out and directly enveloping Longao. If the three of them joined forces and still couldn't defeat Longao, the three of them had the impulse to commit suicide. Holding the reincarnation sword in his hand, Longao operated the reincarnation sword technique in his body. Rays of reincarnation sword light shot out quickly. It was common knowledge that ordinary god emperors couldn't break the domain of heaven and earth. However, Longao's situation was a little different. The power of the reincarnation sword combined with the reincarnation sword technique was amazing. Not to mention the domain of heaven and earth of a Nirvana realm martial artist, even the taboo power released by a starry sky cultivator could be broken. In less than 3 rays of reincarnation sword light, he had successfully broken the domain of heaven and earth. Darkness was shocked. Darkness didn't believe it when he heard Dongfang Sheng and the other two's words. But now, after seeing it with his own eyes, even Darkness was a little incredulous. He couldn't figure out why Black Wolf, who was just a god emperor, could break the domain of heaven and earth released by the oneness of heaven and man. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. Taboo power. Although Darkness's physical body had been destroyed and only the star god was left, he could still release taboo power. As Longao had guessed, Darkness's star god strength was so strong that even a Nirvana realm martial artist could not resist it. However, taboo power was not something a Nirvana realm martial artist could contend with, especially a level 6 taboo power. Starry Sky Cultivators, in order of strength, were level 1 Starry Sky Cultivator, level 2 Starry Sky Cultivator, level 3 Starry Sky Cultivator, level 4 Starry Sky Cultivator, level 5 Starry Sky Cultivator, level 6 Starry Sky Cultivator, level 7 Starry Sky Cultivator, level 8 Starry Sky Cultivator, and level 9 Starry Sky Cultivator. Taboo power corresponded to the Starry Sky level. In order of strength, it was level 1 Taboo power, level 2 Taboo power, level 3 Taboo power, level 4 Taboo power, level 5 Taboo power, level 6 Taboo power, level 7 Taboo power, level 8 Taboo power, and level 9 Taboo power. The original body of Darkness was a grade 6 Starry Sky Cultivator and possessed a grade 6 Taboo power. If the original body released the Taboo power at its peak, not to mention Longao, even a grade 5 Starry Sky Cultivator would not be able to resist a grade 6 Taboo power. However, the current situation was a bit special. Darkness's original body was destroyed, and the remaining star god power was extremely weak. Therefore, the level 6 taboo power was less than 1/10 of its peak strength. Longao directly broke through the taboo power with the help of the samsara sword light. The taboo power he released was still broken through by the other party. Darkness was shocked to the extreme. After sensing it personally, Darkness finally found something fishy about the matter. Sword. Darkness had already guessed that the reason why the other party could break through his taboo power and Dongfang Sheng's domain of heaven and earth was not because of Black Wolf's strength, but because of the sharp sword in the other party's hand. After all, the divine sword in the other party's hand could break through his taboo power, which in itself explained everything. If he could get this divine sword, wouldn't it be like adding wings to a tiger? Chapter 1580. Even with the help of the samsara sword, they couldn't go on like this. One could imagine the power of the four when they joined forces. 1 against 4. The spatial fluctuations were disturbed. Not only could they not enter the dragon seal space, but they couldn't even use teleportation. In this case, things would become very troublesome. No matter what, you must keep him here. Yes, ancestor. The three had already guessed that the divine sword in the opponent's hand was not an ordinary one. Longao, let's go. At this critical moment, Xiling's voice suddenly sounded in Longao's mind. Although he did not know what Xiling was going to do, but since things had already come to this step, Longao could only rely on Xiling to leave. At this moment, a purple sword light suddenly shot out, carrying with it a taboo might. The 9th level forbidden power. Sensing the forbidden power of the purple sword light, Darkness was shocked to the extreme. Not only Darkness, but even Dongfang Sheng, Dongfang Hua, and Dongfang Qin were shocked. What on earth happened? The four of them knew very well that the 9th level forbidden power meant that the opponent was a 9th level starry sky cultivator. How could it be? There were 9 levels of starry sky cultivators. A 9th level starry sky cultivator was the strongest in the starry sky. How could Darkness, a 6th level starry sky cultivator, compare with such an expert? They kept retreating. The four of them were shocked and stared at Black Wolf in front of them. They still couldn't believe that Black Wolf was the so-called 9th level starry sky cultivator. Even if they didn't want to believe it, the fact was in front of them and they had to believe it. Let's go. Longao was also shocked, but in this case, they had to leave first. With a whoosh, Longao turned and left. Even if he couldn't use teleportation, with his strength, Longao disappeared without a trace in a few steps. There were only 4 people left in the room. The 4 of them looked at each other and saw a trace of shock in each other's eyes, but more disbelief. Ancestor, Black Wolf can't be a 9th level starry sky cultivator. He nodded. Not to mention Dongfang Sheng, even Darkness himself would not believe that Black Wolf, who had just left, was the so-called level 9 starry sky cultivator. Black Wolf definitely was not a grade 9 starry sky cultivator. In that case, there was only one possibility. Darkness seemed to have thought of something and suppressed the surprise in its heart before speaking. Immediately look for this person. If you can't find him, you will disappear forever. Shocked, the 3 of them did not dare to hesitate in the slightest because they were well aware of the old ancestor's personality. Even if the old ancestor's original body had been destroyed and only a star god was left, with the old ancestor's current strength, it was more than enough to kill them. It was something that could happen in a matter of minutes. Grade 9 star god. To think that it's a grade 9 star god. The heavens are truly on my side. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Darkness had already guessed that the purple sword light that burst out of Black Wolf's body was not released by him. If he was not wrong, there should be a starry sky cultivator within Black Wolf's body, and a grade 9 one at that. Furthermore, this person's physical body had been destroyed and only a star god was left. Darkness could even be sure that the star god within Black Wolf's body was severely injured, and might even be weaker than itself. Otherwise, the star god within Black Wolf's body would have already made its move. There was no need for it to take Black Wolf away. At the end of the day, this star god was extremely weak right now. Even Dongfang Sheng and the other 2 could easily take care of this star god, let alone himself. It was precisely because of this that Darkness couldn't wait any longer. With his current injuries, As long as he could devour a grade 9 star deity, then he could rely on the grade 9 star deity to recover from his injuries. He could even use the grade 9 star deity to break through to a higher level. As for whether he could break through to the grade 7 Starry Sky Cultivator realm or the grade 8 Starry Sky Cultivator realm, it would all depend on fate. As for becoming a grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator, that was almost impossible. Darkness did not even think about it. Other than that, Darkness was even more confident. As long as his injuries were healed and he continued to break through, there was a high chance of him being reborn. Longao, who had left, did not choose to leave the Dark City at this time. There were two reasons. Firstly, he had not found Yu Yin's soul yet, so he could not leave no matter what. Secondly, the Dark City was still sealed. If he were to leave now, he would undoubtedly be like a lamb walking into a tiger's den. Xiling, thank you for your help this time. Within the dragon seal space, Longao sighed because he already knew how strong Xiling was. Just now, he had clearly sensed that the taboo power Xiling had released was the so-called grade 9 taboo power. In other words, Xiling was a genuine grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator, a super expert on the same level as the divine mathematician. If he had not sensed it personally, Longao would not have believed it. A grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator was a true peak expert of the martial path. In the entire Tianwu continent, other than the divine mathematician, there was no other grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator. Even the Heavenly Tao was only a grade 8 Starry Sky Cultivator. Every grade in the Starry Sky Cultivator's grade meant a huge difference in strength. If Xiling was a grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator, then there was no doubt that Bai Ling was also a grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator. Xiling also sighed and said helplessly, Longao, I believe you have already guessed my strength. Yes, at the peak of my true body, I was a grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator. However, my true body has fallen. My current star god power is not a match for the darkness. If you hadn't left in time, we would have been in big trouble. So that's how it was. Hearing this, Longao also felt a lingering fear. Fortunately, he had left in time. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Xiling, is there any way to help me deal with the darkness? Longao did not have the slightest interest in the darkness. It was still the same sentence. There was only one most important purpose for him to enter the dark world this time, and that was to find the darkness and retrieve Yu Yin's divine soul. If he could not do this, he would not leave no matter what. Xiling certainly knew the seriousness of the matter. After thinking for a while, he said, "This matter is very difficult. I believe you should have sensed the strength of the darkness just now. Even if the true body of the darkness has fallen and the star god is seriously injured, the current strength of the darkness is not something you can contend with. What's more, it's too difficult to take back the divine soul from the darkness." Hearing this, Longao's face also became gloomy to the extreme. He had clearly sensed the strength of the darkness just now. Even if he could break the taboo power of the darkness with the help of the Samsara sword, as Xiling said, the strength of the darkness was still not something he could contend with. Even if the power of the star god of the darkness couldn't be compared with that of a Nirvana rebirth warrior, it was far superior to that of a Nirvana rebirth warrior. Not only that, but there were also 3 Nirvana rebirth warriors by the darkness side. One of them was oneness of heaven and man, while the other 2 were Nirvana rebirth warriors. There was no doubt about it. In that case, what should he do? "Master, I have an idea. Maybe it can help you retrieve Miss Yu Yin's divine soul." "What is it?" Hearing that Long Fu had a way to help him retrieve Yu Yin's divine soul, Longao was pleasantly surprised and couldn't wait to ask. "Master, the darkness has sensed the power of the star god of Miss Xiling. If there is no accident, the darkness will definitely want to get the level 9 star god. Because in this way, the darkness can not only heal the star god's injuries, but also use the power of the level 9 star god to continue to break through and even become a level 8 Starry Sky Cultivator." Longao didn't speak, he just listened quietly. "We can beat the darkness at its own game. I can refine the divine soul. As long as Miss Xiling integrates the level 9 forbidden aura into the divine soul, I can guarantee that the darkness won't be able to recognize the divine soul within 2 hours. At that time, As long as you can get Miss Yu Yin's divine soul, who cares about the darkness? F***CK. Longao never thought that Long Fu's idea would be so explosive. If Long Fu could really refine the divine soul and integrate it with the level 9 star god's aura released by Xiling, then it would be extremely easy to pass off the fake as the real thing. Long Fu, how long will it take you to refine it? About 2 hours, but it will take a little longer to integrate Miss Xiling's level 9 star god's aura. Long Fu thought for a while and said, I believe it will take at most 12 hours. Nodding, Longao finally got through the daunting experience without any mishap. As long as he could successfully find Yu Yin's divine soul, then everything would be fine. Longao had already thought it through. As long as he could find Yu Yin's divine soul, he would immediately leave the Dark City and the Dark World. As for the matters of the Dark City and the unfalling darkness, they would have nothing to do with him. As for whether the Dark City and the unfalling darkness would seek revenge on him, Longao wasn't worried at all, because the seal of the Dark World was there. Unless the Dark City could recover from its injuries and be reborn as a level 6 starry sky cultivator, no one in the entire unfalling darkness could break the seal. Therefore, he didn't have to worry about the Dark City and the unfalling darkness seeking revenge on him. Time passed slowly. 12 hours, for a warrior, was almost a blink of an eye. However, for the current Longao, it could be said that a day felt like a year. Even so, Longao was still a little worried. Although Long Fu spoke with confidence, Longao knew very well that if there was a slight mistake in this matter, the consequences would be unimaginable. At that time, not only would he not be able to leave the Dark City, even Yu Yin's divine soul wouldn't be recovered. This matter could only succeed, and failure was not an option. Therefore, Longao sat in the dragon seal space and waited quietly. While waiting like this, 12 hours finally arrived. Chapter 1581. In the World of Darkness. In an extremely secluded valley. 12 hours had passed quietly, and Darkness's face became gloomier. Black Wolf had disappeared in his territory. How could he save face? The other reason why Darkness was somewhat anxious was also the real reason. It was because of the level 9 star god in Longao's body. Darkness couldn't wait to get his hands on the level 9 star god. Ancestor, Black Wolf has been found. Where? Darkness was a little impatient, which was not like his previous character at all. Dongfang Sheng was a little surprised and didn't know what had happened to the ancestor. Ancestor, I've sent 2 elders to lead Black Wolf here. He seemed very satisfied. Sheng, are you curious why I'm so anxious to find Black Wolf? Dongfang Sheng nodded and said honestly, please tell me, ancestor. There are 9 levels of starry sky cultivators. It took me 30,000 years to finally break through to the level 6 starry sky cultivator realm. Dongfang Sheng didn't speak because others might not know about the ancestor's cultivation, but how could he not know? What exactly did the old ancestor mean by saying this all of a sudden? In the battle back then, my physical body fell and my star god was seriously injured. After 10,000 years, my injuries couldn't recover at all, let alone be reborn. Darkness's face was full of vicissitudes. One wrong step led to many wrong steps. Just now, the purple sword light suddenly shot out of Black Wolf's body. I can say that if there is no accident, there should be a star god in Black Wolf's body. Ah! Dongfang Sheng had guessed it in the previous battle, but he was still not sure. If there was a star god in Black Wolf's body, why would he enter the world of darkness to find the ancestor's inheritance? Wasn't it unnecessary? Not only that, the star god in Black Wolf's body is a level 9 star god. If I can devour it, not only can I recover my peak star god power, but I can even break through. A level 9 star god. Dongfang Sheng was shocked when he heard the ancestor's words. Because Dongfang Sheng never thought that Black Wolf not only had a star god in his body, but also a level 9 one. Didn't that mean? The star god inside Black Wolf's body was a grade 9 starry sky cultivator. Ancestor, I am afraid of the strength of a grade 9 starry sky cultivator. He waved his hand. Before Dongfang Sheng could finish speaking, Darkness said, the level 9-star god should also be severely injured. Otherwise, Black Wolf wouldn't have fled in defeat during the previous battle. Dongfang Sheng nodded in agreement. Sheng once we obtain a grade 9 star god, not only me, but also you, I have full confidence that we can raise your cultivation to the starry sky realm in one fell swoop. He was overjoyed. Dongfang Sheng was very clear about the gap between a Nirvana realm martial artist and a starry sky cultivator. The two of them weren't even on the same level. Kneeling on both knees, Dongfang Sheng said excitedly, "Thank you, great ancestor, for your help." 10 minutes later, Dongfang Hua and Dongfang Qin's silhouettes appeared at the same time. Behind the two of them, there was a silhouette rushing over. It was none other than the target of the darkness, the so-called Longao. The three of them were extremely fast. After a few breaths, the three of them had already entered the valley. Darkness, Dongfang Sheng. Looking at the two people in front of him, Longao wasn't the slightest bit surprised. This was because he had deliberately been tricked into following Dongfang Hua and Dongfang Qin. Otherwise, not to mention 12 hours, even if it had been 6 months, the four of them might not have been able to find him. Black Wolf, you really don't know what's good for you. You didn't enter heaven when there was a door, but you barged into hell when there was no door. He ignored Dongfang Sheng. Longao looked at Darkness in front of him and said with a cold smile, "Darkness, you and I are both smart people. This time, you asked Dongfang Hua and Dongfang Qin to lead me here. What is your purpose?" Being exposed, Darkness seemed a little surprised. However, Darkness still said with an indifferent face, "Black Wolf, as long as you agree to one of my conditions, not only can you leave the world of darkness, you can even take away your companion divine beast." Companion divine beast, the so-called starry sky hell tiger. Longao wasn't surprised at all. He sneered in his heart because he had already guessed that Darkness was acting like this because of Xiling in his body. Longao had already guessed that if nothing unexpected happened, Darkness seemed to already know the true strength of Purple Spirit. A grade 9 starry sky cultivator's star spirit, not to mention Darkness, no matter who it was, they would not be able to resist such a super temptation. What condition? Let's get straight to the point. Previously, you used the power of a star god. If I'm not wrong, the star god in your body should be a level 9 star god, right? Yes, so what? I really need a level 9 star god. Before Darkness finished speaking, Longao spoke first. Darkness, since you've already said it, I'll also get straight to the point. I don't care about your starry sky inheritance at all. This time, I entered the world of darkness mainly for my woman. As long as you hand over my woman's divine soul, I'll give you the level 9 star god I obtained. How about it? Darkness seemed a little surprised and asked, "Whose divine soul?" "The woman who obtained the world of darkness inheritance before. When she entered the world of darkness, you locked onto her divine soul. So it's her." Darkness was also very surprised. He never thought that Black Wolf in front of him would actually come for the previous inheritor. That woman's divine soul was very special. Otherwise, he wouldn't have locked onto her divine soul. However, there was no problem now. In Darkness's view, no matter what it was incomparable to a level 9 star god. Thinking of this, Darkness didn't even think and directly replied, "Black Wolf, I promise you, but I don't believe you. Let's both swear a blood oath." How about it? A blood oath was not only binding on Longao, but also on Darkness, whose cultivation had reached the starry sky realm. As long as the two of them swore a blood oath at the same time, neither Longao nor Darkness would casually violate the oath. Just now, Darkness didn't really believe Black Wolf. However, Black Wolf took the initiative to swear a blood oath. Even if Darkness had a little doubt in his heart, things had already reached this point. He could only agree and deal with the level 9 star god first. As long as he could obtain the level 9 star god, everything else was just fleeting clouds. Okay, let's swear a blood oath at the same time. Nodding, Longao and Darkness both swore a blood oath at the same time. The contents of the oath were similar. Both of them had their own ulterior motives. It would depend on who had the greater ability. Seeing Black Wolf really swear a blood oath, The last bit of doubt in Darkness's heart disappeared. Could it be that Black Wolf was really willing to hand over the level 9 star god? Chapter 1582. Darkness, Divine Soul. If it was a moment ago, Darkness would definitely not have trusted Longao. But now, the situation was a little different. After Longao made the blood oath, Darkness would definitely believe him. After all, the restrictions of the blood oath were too great. He handed over Yu Yin's divine soul. Black Wolf, level 9 star god. Longao was also very straightforward. He directly took out the level 9 star god that Long Fu and Xiling had refined from the dragon seal space. He sneered in his heart. Longao was looking forward to it. If Darkness found out that the level 9 star god he gave him was a fake, he wondered if Darkness would be angered to death. One hand handed over the divine soul, the other hand handed over the level 9 star god. With the divine soul in his hand, Longao's face was instantly filled with joy. He said directly, "The matter is settled. You and I each took what we needed. I'll take my leave now. Scram, Black Wolf. After you leave the world of darkness, I hope you won't come back. Otherwise, you won't be so lucky next time." Ignored. Longao turned and left. In the blink of an eye, his figure had disappeared without a trace. "Sheng-Er, no matter what happens, you three must kill this person for me. Old ancestor, didn't you already make the blood oath?" Hearing that the old ancestor wanted to continue dealing with darkness, Dongfang Sheng and the other two were shocked. Even the old ancestor couldn't violate the restrictions of the blood oath. "The blood oath I made just now only said that I couldn't deal with Black Wolf. The three of you didn't say that I couldn't. The starry sky hell tiger can't stay. If you cut the grass without removing the roots, it will grow again. I won't leave any trouble for myself." If it was just Longao alone, Darkness might not continue to act. However, Darkness was very wary of the starry sky hell tiger. The starry sky hell tiger might be weak now and not be a threat to him, but what about in the future? No one could be sure that the starry sky hell tiger would become so strong in the future. Because of this, in order to eliminate the root of the problem, Darkness had ordered Dongfang Sheng to personally kill Longao. Strictly speaking, he had killed the starry sky hell tiger, which was also known as Long Ming. Dongfang Sheng and the other two seemed to have guessed something. "Ancestor, we know what to do." Not daring to hesitate, the three of them turned around and left. Darkness was the only one left in the valley. The quiet valley was shrouded in darkness. Grade 9 star god. Ha ha ha. After 10,000 years, I've finally arrived. Ha 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 ha. He laughed crazily. Without even waiting for a moment, the darkness immediately began to devour the level 9 star god. It had waited for 10,000 years, and now that it had unexpectedly obtained a level 9 star god, Darkness wanted nothing more than to immediately devour the level 9 star god and borrow the power of the level 9 star god to break through. As for whether he could break through to the grade 7 Starry Sky Cultivator realm or continue to break through to the grade 8 Starry Sky Cultivator realm, it all depended on luck. No matter what, the star god that Hei Lang had just given him had also suffered a very serious injury. Devouring a level 9 star god. Darkness sat down cross-legged. The power of the star god within its body surrounded the level 9 star god and began to devour and refine it. Within the Dark City, after obtaining Yu Yin's soul successfully, Longao was elated. He was not prepared to linger in the dark world any longer. Even though Hades did not say it clearly, Longao was clear that the longer he delayed the matter of Yu Yin losing her soul, the worse it would be for Yu Yin. He had to leave the dark world in the shortest time possible. Within the city gates, Black Wolf. Looking at the sudden appearance of this young man, Dongfang Jueqing, Dongfang Yun, and the others were startled. They already knew of the strength of Black Wolf. If even the clan leader and the two elders could not hold this man back, one could only imagine how horrifying his strength was. Not only that, Dongfang Jueqing was extremely wary of Longao. After all, in the previous battle, he had already lost in a single move. Dongfang Jueqing, scram. Dongfang Jueqing glared at him coldly. No matter what happened in the Dark City, he would not let this man off easily. He wanted to regain the face he had lost. Black Wolf, you dare to provoke the Dark City. If I don't kill you today, I'm not a man. Dongfang Jueqing's killing intent soared as he continued coldly, kill him. Dongfang Jueqing was now the highest commander. No one dared to disobey his order. Countless people swarmed forward. Just the God Emperors alone numbered more than a dozen. With more than 100 people joining forces, their strength was not to be underestimated. However, would Longao be afraid? His cultivation had already broken through to the peak God Emperor realm. Unless it was a Nirvana realm cultivator, Longao could ignore anyone below the Nirvana realm. Even if 100 God Emperors joined forces, Longao might not even put them in his eyes, let alone 100 people. After successfully obtaining Yu Yin's divine soul, Longao no longer had any scruples. Under such circumstances, whoever dared to block his path would be killed. It could be said that he would kill anyone who blocked his path. Holding the reincarnation sword tightly, Longao circulated the reincarnation sword light and immediately brandished it. Rays of reincarnation sword light shot out rapidly. Dongfang Jueqing and Dongfang Yun, who bore the brunt of the attack, were instantly killed by 2 rays of reincarnation sword light. Seeing such a situation, everyone was shocked. Dongfang Jueqing and Dongfang Yun were the strongest among the 100 people. However, they were still instantly killed by the other party. Shocked by the other party's strength, everyone retreated continuously. Right at this moment, 3 black figures suddenly shot over from afar. They were getting faster and faster. In the blink of an eye, Dongfang Sheng and the other 2 had arrived. Before they arrived, the 3 of them had already seen the 2 people who were killed. Black Wolf, you dare to kill the disciples of the Dark City. I won't kill you today. Trash. Shameless. Longao instantly understood what had happened. Without the orders of the Dark City, how could Dongfang Sheng and the other 2 appear at this moment? Weren't they here to deal with him? With a backhand sword, he did not continue to talk nonsense. After all, the battle was about to start and there was no way to avoid it. Since that was the case, why should he continue to dawdle? Reincarnation sword light, sword shadows were densely packed. Dongfang Sheng and the other 2 did not put Longao in their eyes at all. In the blink of an eye, the 3 of them had arrived and attacked Longao from different directions. If it was an ordinary peak God Emperor, not to mention 1 against 3, even if it was 1 against 1, it would be hard for him to withstand 3 moves from a Nirvana realm warrior. This was the difference between people. Not to mention strength, just Longao's defense alone was not something easy for a Nirvana realm warrior who had comprehended the heaven and earth to break through. The heaven and earth were in sorrow. Longao used his body as a guide and the surrounding air started to spin crazily. The spinning speed was getting faster and faster. In the blink of an eye, with Longao as the center, a huge air vortex was formed. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.